What's up, guys? Studfit here, joined by Antlev for potentially the craziest rundown of all rundowns. I appreciate your patience as we took a few days to record this and put together what I think is the most interesting content that we've ever reviewed on the rundown. There's obviously a lot of changes in the game, and I think that this is a great point in time for us to take what was the negative of no longer having pipe content, data mining, etc., packs, stud versus dud, and turn that negative into a positive and really be able to dive deeper into the coverage, the strategy. And so I can promise you we have gone deeper into what you enjoy about the rundown. So without further ado, welcome to my good friend and top 10 algorithmist. Antlev, welcome, man.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, by the way, fun fact, the rundown was first created, I think it's gone something like 50, 60 episodes now. It was created exactly 2 years ago. How crazy is that? It's been a whirlwind of the last few years. Obviously, we're celebrating 3 years of the game. But originally, the rundown was created just to basically kind of talk about who was buffed and talked about some of the data mining. I actually recorded the rundown the day of the new tour. What I did was just a screen recording on my phone, and I manually, I woke up like literally at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and manually counted how many tracks every single item in the game had, and then found out which one was new, which one was buffed. And so at the time, we only had, I was looking back at it today, just in like the permanent pipe items, there were only 6 leading up to my very first rundown. And then Funky Kong and Dixie Kong were added, and now there were 8 drivers added to as a permanent mix. And there were 12 gliders. And look at it now, the game has gone berserk. We can no longer do things manual. We have different trackers. The game has changed a lot. And so we actually have Larry98, who's done a phenomenal job putting together so much content in his spreadsheet. That is live now. Definitely check out in the description. But anyway, the main point is take a lot of his information, some other information. A Turtle Dude has a great app called the Coverage Optimizer that I've taken some other information from, smashed it into the rundown. So my main point in saying all that is that when the rundown was created September, I think 23rd or something, 2020, and now we're literally 2 years later. The game has changed, and so we are evolving just like this game is. And so I'm ecstatic to give you this content, but I have just a lot of people a lot of resources, a lot of information that we're relying on. But you also realize back then, when you're talking about the tour the day of, there is a lot of information that at some points were kind of hidden, like buffs and information about data mining. And so this was like looking back at what even the rundown was just last tour, there's a lot of information that you probably already knew, like the packs you already knew about for a couple of days, the different resources like the pipes in week 2, the special pipe, you knew all that really within minutes of the tour opening thanks to data mining. So that information actually is was probably unnecessary, but we talked about it anyway because we always liked talking about the strategy, and that was fun. But ultimately for us and kind of the go forward mission of the rundown is essentially to help you make strategic decisions around rubies, coins, and tickets in order to optimize, in order to be more efficient, in order to basically be the most the biggest steward of your resources as possible. And so every single one of these slides in my mind was going through that mission and what we can provide to you. So that's what you have to look forward to. We are coming up on 2,000 subscribers. We're literally at like 1,980. So we have like 20 people. If you don't mind, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. That would be so helpful, and we'll hopefully have a celebration at 2,000. But there was so much content to talk about. I don't want to delay, but there are a few slides that I haven't updated. One of those is this. I did want to make sure to add Bobcat. He is our brand new super stud. He actually joined right before Kart Talk, so joined us on this past episode. Check him out here. But the studs and not duds, I did not get a chance to update. So, but I honestly, these people, I'm not sure exactly. I probably spent somewhere, I don't know, maybe in the 12 hours or so over the weekend to put together this content. And honestly, I wouldn't have spent 12 of my hours over the weekend, including we had a bunch of other stuff going on, including a yard sale and family in town. My son was sick. I wouldn't have done that without each and every one of these members, and even all the subscribers, all the people that keep this channel going. So I cannot thank you enough for you guys and what you guys do. But Ansel, let's get into it. We have an autumn celebration.
Let's do it.
We have an autumn celebration right coming out of the last celebration we did. Celebrations mean nothing at this point, but we're coming into this battle tour. A lot of big changes, including battle mode, which whether it's multiplayer or battle against friends, all that is not available until next tour. You already know that. But we have this battle mode in ranked, which, to be honest with you, it's so squirrely. It's no longer the Mario Kart tour that we are familiar with. I'm curious to see what happens in future tours, if we'll have 2 battle tracks per tour, 2 of the 6 tracks we have for ranked. I'm not entirely sure. We also have 15 cups with an insane amount of all cup ranking, track and time that you have to spend in order to be able to get those optimal runs. So a lot's changed there. We no longer have special items included in packs. We don't have special items included, in the Premium Plus, where we used to have like a Black Yoshi or some garbage driver. Now we actually get a gold pipe, which probably has garbage stuff in it anyway, but that's beside the point. The game has changed a lot in that respect. And so really, the only way you can get things is from these free pipes that they give us and these gold pipes and token pipes, etc. And or things we get with rubies in exchange for the pipe. So big change to the game. But in concept of going through the autumn celebration, we obviously have this red pit grew toad, this ranked item here for the green speedster, and then we have Halloween tour. So one of the questions here, and obviously I have to react a little bit to this brand new Vampire Flyer alt, which is kind of got the same color scheme as the red crawling cart. I personally love the Vampire Flyer. I'll be honest with you though, I like the original Vampire Flyer. I'm not a huge fan of the Spider-Man coloring or whatever it is. The Crawly Cart, I still like the original Crawly Cart more than the red Crawly, to be honest with you too. So I know you guys wanted to know my reaction. My reaction is the original is way better, in my opinion. I know Ansel hates them both, so it doesn't really. I'm sure you probably don't have too much more to say about that. But and then we do have what looks to be maybe Sammy D mentioned this, and probably others in the community too. Could this track be Boo Lake, which has kind of these spotlights on the track, and that's kind of what he's pointing out. And then we have this autumn tour that will finish out the celebration, including Super Driver and Kart Proactive. Super Driver, I've heard some people talking about just like the regular Boo and not the King Boo and some other things. But anytime we're adding supers to the game, especially if at some point in time they're added to the daily selects, we're running low on these tickets anyway. So it's going to be really hard to want to level these guys up. But it is a nice alternative, especially with all the cap tickets. Man, cap tickets threw a wrench in things too. But we will finish with this question mark track. The question is, for me, and my prediction is, maybe this track is our autumn version of the Nitro track. So we've had, we started with Merry Mountain, and then Ninja Hideaway, and now we got the Sunday, Ice Cream Sundays. I forget what the name of the track is, to be honest with you.
Sky High Sunday.
Sky High Sunday. But what if this is the autumn Nitro track that only comes back in the autumn time? It's something to look forward to, but we have to count it as a Nitro track. So, Ansel, what are your thoughts on the autumn celebration?
Honestly, I didn't really I've been so overwhelmed by all the changes in this tour. I hadn't really looked that far ahead. I didn't even think about speculation what the autumn tour is going to be. I guess it's going to be a new track. I don't think we've had a question mark on one of these like roadmaps where it hasn't been. Maybe Vancouver too. But I think usually those question marks are something new, a new course. So hopefully it's that. The Halloween tour, I love Halloween. I'm very excited for it. If it's Boo Lake, that's great. That will be really interesting, especially to see who the new alt is. If it's some kind of King Boo alt, that would be super cool. But I mean, yeah, we have so many changes to in the current tour. It's like I've been just kind of focusing on trying to wrap my head around how much the game has been completely turned on its head, to do a lot of thinking about even looking forward to tours after this. It is disappointing all the technical issues going on around multiplayer, and that we're not able to do that. I think battle mode is something that is going to be more fun in multiplayer than single player. As an older guy who has been playing the Mario Kart series since the beginning, when I was young and we were playing the original Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo, we didn't play races like much at all.
Yep.
Like me and my friends, we played almost always battle mode, and it was like really, and I was like, oh, you can also do races in this game too.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It is weird grinding for points in battle mode and not trying to like knock out opponents and trying to like, get frenzies and keep your combo and that kind of stuff. But that was also the case with races when the game first started as well. It took a while to get used to the idea of not racing to necessarily win or become first, but to rack up like a high score. So I guess we'll get used to it in time. It does certainly feel weird at the moment, the way it is. But I mean, we'll see how much Battle Tour is going to impact. Like, how often are we going to see these tracks? How important it's going to be to have coverage for them, or what you're going to need, and what the best strategy is. It's something new and interesting, and I guess we'll get used to it.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I'm with you there for sure. Man, I think that with battle mode, there is this what seems to be kind of a strange little good effort bonus that if you finish in the first 90 seconds, you get thousands of points. I guess it apparently might depend on your loadout, but a lot of these are like in the 6,000, 7,000, 9,000 as a base points. Who knows how it's actually impacting the points? But if you finish within the first 90 seconds, so it makes you wonder, should be having a timer as you're doing the game. It's really weird that they don't actually include the timer on there too. But yeah, I'm with you. It's honestly it's grindier than any of the other parts of the grind of the game. For me, I'm just literally going in circles while tapping, because there's no auto item.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest. G Siegel added that on our stream last week. That's probably the number one fix if they fixed it. Like that would make because I'm literally tapping the screen every time.
Yeah.
Every time I'm going between every box, and like this. The more actions you get is obviously dependent on how many item boxes you get through. So you're literally tapping it. I'm probably tapping it 100 times in one battle mode. It's not something I can't like grind that while doing anything else other than sitting there and focus on that game. I don't know. To me, it's super like it just takes a lot of my motor skills just to do it. So it's kind of exhausting. So for me, like I think that they talk about. The ideal run, obviously, the points still kind of run through the same system as everything else, meaning that over 200 actions is not going to necessarily, you're going to get that drop off of the bonus points. But this what is it? Good effort, whatever, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but the bonus points, that one is equal to about 40 actions. I have to look at it, but now. What's it called again? Where you get the 6,000 points? I'll have to look it up.
Oh, the well fought bonus.
Well fought, yeah. So this well fought, Wells Fargo bonus, as some people are calling it, it's about 40 actions. So if you think about it, like a triple coin box frenzy is equivalent to about 160 actions in 90 seconds, and then you're getting to 200 actions. That's really the ceiling. That is your triple coin box frenzy. So for me, like what I'm thinking about is, if I can get 100, 110, 120 actions in 90 seconds, get the 40 additional actions, get 160, and then I'm happy. I'm getting off that track. I'm moving on to something that's much more mentally stimulating, and just calling it a day and leave 4,000 or 5,000 on the table. At least for all cup ranking, at least for ranked. That's the way I'm going. If I have like a really tough battle, just know like. You can put more time into it, but it's not something I would necessarily recommend. But that's battle mode in a nutshell. Anything you want to add to that?
The only thing I would add I would recommend people be a little bit careful when investing for the battle mode tracks for ranked. We don't have an idea of how often they're going to come back. In this tour with a new format of 15 cups, 45 tracks, they are in there 4 times for ACR and 2 times for ranked. So for an ACR appearance rate that's under 9%, you compare that to NRT tracks that's closer to like 24, 25%. So they look like they're going to be, if this kind of pattern would hold up, they're going to look like they're going to kind of be somewhere similar to cities, maybe a little bit more than cities, but less than like how RTs used to be. So investing in items specifically for the battle tracks is I would just say let's wait and see the next couple of tours what the kind of reappearance rate is for these battle tracks. Yeah.
And with that being said, I think still Coinbox is king.
Yep.
I think ultimately we tried different skills last week on the battle party that never happened. It was just single mode, and Coinbox by far was the easiest to get actions on. Now the hard part is, it may be hard to hit your opponents because you don't have things like Lucky 7, red shells, and stuff going out. But even like the red shells are just so weak. Like what was really for the Lucky 7, you're just relying on the blooper actions. Compared to really hitting your opponent. So I don't really think like Lucky 7 helps you hit opponents that much more, in my opinion. But it's all about getting those single boxes, about getting the Coinbox frenzies. And for that reason, Coinbox is still king. And I know we've had some discussions. We'll talk about this a little bit more in the algorithm in the top 10. But there was some question about hitbox and does the card size impact how we rank things, with taking into consideration battle mode. And I think we made a small tweak, but we'll see how this is still a work in progress. I think still if Coinbox is king for battle mode, you're still going to want to get as many coins as possible. You may want to avoid getting hit for sure, but there's a lot of things on the track. You want to get those coins, and if Coinbox is still king for battle mode, we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves and go and have the pendulum swing too far to the fact that we just want to only invest in small cards. I don't think that's necessarily the case. And with 9% odds of having a battle mode, we just have to rely on the fact that most courses are going to rely on that heavy coin box. And there's not much to talk about for the skill for the glider in battle mode either, as it removes some of the other specific items, but things like bloopers in there and whatever else. But no bullet bill and that kind of stuff. So overall, we're gonna still rely on the single player racing meta, and battle mode will be just in the back of our mind, but not necessarily changing the meta altogether that much. Any last statements there, Antelope?
No, I mean, we did reduce the impact of card size a bit, but I mean, look, the thing is, if you're playing regular races in multiplayer, you're going to make different choices about your items. You'd rather have a smaller card than a bigger card. You actually look at card skill. Your choice of gliders is going to be different based on items and stuff. Driver item as well. It's going to be the same thing for battle mode. The multiplayer, you're going to make much different choices than single player. Single player is going to be about getting that optimal run with the most points possible, and that means Coinbox, or if you don't have a Coinbox, a different plus skill. And in multiplayer, you are going to be trying to win the game. So you'll want a small card for multiplayer, but in single player, it may not be the case.
Yeah, we also had some major changes with cap tickets, and I think the spectrum was somewhere in the 15, 16, maybe 20 tickets in order to quad cap something, and it was 12. So I think the general community was very, very pleased with only having 12. However, there's a lot of other tweaks that we didn't know was coming. This special little 30 additional base points that a triple capped item gets for free, which is interesting because the way that they were adding the base points, everything made sense. And then this part didn't necessarily, other than the fact that maybe they're trying to let people who did triple cap something feel a little bit better about having it tripled. I'm not entirely sure why they did it that way, but the Mii suits still got triple quad cap. So that's still out there. So that makes these Mii suits just so powerful. And we'll talk a little bit about kind of how to approach the Spotlight shop and specifically around Mii's. But Angela, have anything just high level want to talk about the cap tickets?
I mean, it was a shock for everybody that there was 12. I personally thought it would be 20 at least. I'm pleasantly surprised by that. It's going to open up a much bigger It's going to open up the meta as far as what items you're going to triple cap, what items you're going to quad cap. Now that that's there, it's going to cost 28 cap tickets in total to get an item from uncapped to quad. To 800 base points or 400 base points for a Kart or glider to quad caps, which is a lot, but is doable. So it's going to make some things interesting. I know there's a lot of items which I had double capped before, and there's really never any plan to triple cap them. It's like this is where it ends. I'm wondering if I'm looking at my inventory now, are there going to be items which are triple capped, which I'm saying no, that's just going to stay there, and I'm not gonna quad cap it. I'm personally gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and save up a lot of tickets and probably do a lot of quad caps at once in conjunction with an ACR run. I don't see the need for quad caps personally at this moment. I know a lot of people are going into their favorite items right away, but I'd prefer to wait and go with a more comprehensive strategy where I can kind of optimize coverage and reduce overlap instead of just going one item by one item.
I will say though, yeah, it's good. It's a good point. And I think the general community probably should follow those guidelines. I will say if you quad uncap one thing, then that one thing is the best thing on all of its tracks, and you will use that item, and that's going to be the best item for all of those tracks. So you add a second item in there, you're losing some overlap, you're losing some things you could have invested in. So my thing would be it's okay to invest in one thing, one of each, driver, kart, glider. And because you're not going to lose that coverage, and when you think about optimization, you're literally not losing you're not losing anything by making that investment other than your ticket. So I'm just saying, for what it's worth, if you invest in one item, that's okay. I think once you get into 2 and 3, then I hope you're relying on trackers, because that's going to be something really, really hard to do otherwise. All right, there you go. That's Autumn Celebration, some of the major changes in a nutshell. We'll get to the Spotlight Shop and kind of how to approach that here in a second. But before we do, let's talk about some of the newer items, specifically this Luigi Chef. I think that a lot of people have drawn attention to the fact that he's not wearing gloves, and he wears gloves in all the other, just like Mickey Mouse and all these other cartoons back in the 70s and 80s, they all wear gloves. Well, he's not, but he's like the one guy that probably should be, just for sanitary reasons. But it is what it is. I'm not sure why they did it that way. But looking at his tracks, here are just some of the top skill overlap with the tracks he comes out with. So, of course, he gets the Battle Course 1 for Game Boy Advance. It comes with 2 other Luigis, including Classic and the brand new Knight Luigi. He's got the Remix Donut Plains 1RT. This comes with Gold Chuck, Chef Rosalina, and Pink Shy Guy Ninja. Got the Ghost Valley 1RT with a couple Lucky 7 drivers, specifically me related, and then Mario Samurai. He's got the SNES Donut Plains 2RT with King Mario, Hakama Mario, unlocked at level 8, which is going to be some of you guys might already have that. Kangaroo Yoshi, Hall Daisy, and Luigi Painter. And then probably the track that you're having no problems getting covered is this SNES Chocolate Island 1RT, which is unlocked at level 3. A lot of drivers in there, including the Gold Me Suit, Charging Chuck at level 3, Gold Yoshi, and some other top skills. You also have the SNES Donut Plains 1T with Rosalina Swimwear, Gold Cooper Free Running, and Mario Chef unlocked to level 3. And then for the level 6 unlocks, this is a little bit one of its brighter spots. You got the Choco Mountain RT with Mario Tuxedo and Gold Chuck, along with the regular Chuck. And then Remix Choco Island 1RT with question mark Block Head Me Suit, Petey Piranha, and Rosalina Chef. And then finally his level 8 unlocked, the Donut Plains 1T, the remix version. He has the Luigi Knight, Rosalina Volendam, and Daisy tie-dye. So, what are your thoughts on Chef Luigi's brand new coverage?
Okay, so he's got Triple Bananas, which is not the worst skill, but it's not it's not really any better than just going for coin frenzies. Look, the thing about this tour is our set of ACR tracks is pretty old. We've got the new RMX Donut Plains, which is an absolutely gorgeous track, by the way. Fantastically done, Nintendo. Hats off.
Good job, yeah.
And we've got Wario Shipyard, which was out earlier this year, and then I think we have RMX Ghost Valley 1 RT, which is from the Trick Tour last year, the Toad versus Toadette Tour. And I think other than that, none of the other courses have come out in the past 1 year, so they're all older courses, so they're not going to be that valuable. And items which started in this tour, it's not like it's all city start, but you're not getting like the new meta hard to cover tracks. And the same goes for a lot of the buffs this tour. So yeah, he got one of the new ones. He got the RT version, and he got at level 8 unlock, he got the T version. But other than that, he's got all these like pretty old tracks. He didn't even get any Wario Shipyards, and he doesn't have a good skill. So I mean, I would say pretty hard pass on him. Not really interesting. No offense.
No offense. Well, at 150 rubies now is the cost of getting these brand new items.
Yep.
What do you think? Are you getting them or are you passing?
No. I mean, I'm like, a lot of people are complaining about the spotlight shops. Like, 150 rubies for a new driver is too expensive. You spend 350 rubies for 3 items. You don't even get all the other stuff that's in the items. Like, I think it's fantastic. I think it's so awesome that for that little amount of rubies, you can pick and choose and buy exactly what you want. Like, if you go into a pipe for one specific item, okay, so let's take a good example, like Gold Yoshi. So you go into his pipe, it's a 6% pipe. He's got a cart, which I think was the gold egg cart, and he's got a glider, which is a new gold eggshell glider. But you didn't really care about those. You were basically going into that pipe just to get him. You could, theoretically spend 450 rubies, but maybe a bit less if you're lucky or not, just to get one driver. It doesn't matter that you end up with 6 high ends if you clear the entire pipe. There's a good chance that you may never use 5 of those 6 high ends. You're just going into one glider. So people are saying, yeah, we used to have like 9%, 12% pipes for 450 rubies, and now we're spending almost that much just for like. No, you look at the items, you get the ones that fit your coverage or the new plus skill items, and you're going to end up spending way less rubies. And look, for people who are trying to get their entire account filled with, level 6, level 7, level 8 items, yeah, sure, it's kind of bad for you that you're not be able to pull a million dupes anymore. So that really hurts whales. But I think for average people, it's going to be much easier to get the items that you want. We're not going to have to save the 450 rubies all the time anymore just to be able to go into a pipe without gambling. We can get to 150 to 200, 250 and be able to get big kind of like spot pick items, identify items which are good for your account, and keep an eye out for those. So I really like change.
Yeah, man. I go to McDonald's sometimes, or somewhere, and I get a kids meal, right? And I just want them to eat some nuggets. I just want them to have some protein. And they're like, "Well, what side do you want?" I'm like, "I just take some fries." Well, what about your second side? Second side? I don't need a second side. Fine. Get some apple slices. All right. What kind of drink do you want? And I'm like, "Hey, I just want the nuggets. Can we just get can I just buy the entree?" Or you go to a steak dinner, right? And a lot of these nice steak dinners, you don't. They actually just sell the steak, and you have to buy the sides separately. I'm actually good with that. I want the steak. I don't really care about buying asparagus and broccoli. If I want that, I'll get that. But I'm here. I want to spend my 150 rubies, get what I want, and I call it kind of the party time Toad factor, where I have him at like level 7. He's almost level 8. Just from pulling them in all these 9%, 12% fantastic odds pipes. Yeah. But I don't want them. I'm not going to use them. So like, what does it really matter if I get him added as that side that I never really wanted anyway? So I know, random rant there, but I'm with you, man. I actually think this is a positive thing for the community. And honestly, I've been kind of going through this GP90X, and I've been like, I'm going to get these rubies. I need rubies in order to pull on pipes. And now I have not bought any of those packs because I don't need to. I'm sitting here other than getting the Premium Challenge and the Premium Challenge Plus, which is a fantastic addition. I wish the name was a little bit more like Platinum or something else, but the naming is kind of silly. But all I did is get those Premium Challenge Plus, and Premium Challenge Plus, spend about $50. I'm sitting at 300 rubies after, pulling some pipes and stuff like that. And I'm like, what do I do with these rubies? I don't even need these rubies anymore. I literally don't need rubies. I don't need rubies. Like, I could get some of these spotlight items, but at this point in time, my mentality is I'm going to actually use these rubies for Coin Rush. Shout out to Luca, who kind of first tossed this out there. If you were to do Coin Rush with the same 150 rubies, you can get what is equivalent to 24,000 coins, which is if you get 2 of your high-end driver tickets in your daily selects, which I am getting. I'm actually typically getting a one level ticket, and one cap ticket in my shop almost every day since the tour came out. I did, take the ribbon, the plaid ribbon, and max that out. But other than that, I don't really make any other investments, and so I'm seeing those. I'm actually seeing those tickets in there. In fact, I think one of the biggest changes from this Ruby change is actually the cap tickets look much more attractive, to be honest with you, with the quad capping and 20. I know it's 20,000 coins. But like,
it's a lot.
It's a lot of coins, but that's 100. I might even rather have a cap ticket than having another, to then buy a driver. So I don't know. I'm sitting with my main point is I'm sitting here with all these rubies. I'm looking at my spotlight shop and I'm like, I have all these things. I don't need these. Right. What am I looking at?
And buying dupes is totally not. Like, the only people who are even remotely interested in buying dupes are the people who spend so much money that they run out of tier shop tickets to buy before they run out of coins. Like, if you've got unlimited coins, yeah, okay, go ahead and buy the ruby dupes. But if you don't, you made a really good point that doing coin rush with rubies is twice as efficient in terms of buying tickets versus actually buying the ruby dupes. So then you're just looking at only acquiring new items. And for like a pretty well-developed account, there's not that many unowned items which are going to provide like a really big boost. So yeah, it's a lot easier to save.
Shout out to Carlos, who did a video on if you wanted to max out your account, I think it would be something like $550,000, which, ultimately, I don't think anyone's maxing out their account. I think, someone like Carlos, who, is a collection person who and he and Larry98 were getting every single item, every single tour. For them, I'm sure they see this as a huge positive. I don't have to go into all these 100 pipes to get something that I want. But hypothetically, if you want to max his account, and I think that there are a lot of games where we're actually maxing out the account is something that is certainly within the realm of possibility. That I don't think anyone is even thinking in that world except for maybe Carlos. So I'm glad Carlos did the video because I don't think that video ever would have been created by any of the other content creators. But on the other side of the spectrum, right, we have a lot of free-to-play players. We have a lot of players who are pitchforks going at Nintendo saying 150 rubies. Are you kidding me? You've taken away all these rubies and stuff. And ultimately, I think the free-to-play. I don't think necessarily Nintendo is really catering to the free-to-play, but that's they're not making money off of them anyway. So if they fall off, I just don't think Nintendo is really taking into consideration, what that looks like for them. However, I do think that they've done a good job of adding additional ways for Gold Pass players and other players to still pull on pipes, to still get things that they want, without having to really break the bank, other than just have a small nominal cost membership. So ultimately, I honestly, I don't even know why necessarily people are still doing free to play. I think it's just for a cup of coffee, you get to be able to enjoy this game that you're already putting a lot of time and effort into. Now, if you have a hard, issue with, credit cards and having that associated to your account and just the temptation, I get it. And I completely respect people for making those decisions. But I think Gold Pass is a phenomenal way to play this game. And I think the main point, though, is that I think this is actually, I'm going to probably spend less money in the game from the way that the system is set up right now.
There's less to spend money on. I mean, you've got these Ruby packs, but yeah.
So there you go. That was all to summarize Luigi's Chef. Let's talk about the brand new super driver, Red Toad Pit Crew. His top skill overlap, of course, he only starts with 5 tracks, but I think Choco Island 1 and Choco Island 1 RT, you're going to be well covered. There's a lot of top skill drivers there. I think what might be interesting is this battle course. Obviously, you have 2 top skills being Luigi Classic and Knight. But there are also some other super drivers on here, like Mario and Yoshi and stuff. So overall, not that big of a deal. I will say if you somehow want to max him or take him out to level 6, you may not have Petey Piranha, you may not have Rosalina Chef, even though they're much more accessible now thanks to the Spotlight shop. And then the question mark block suit, he's not a bad option there. But overall, I mean, the super drivers, they can add them in the game. I think what I think I saw a lot of people say that this quad cap really helps supers. I really don't think it. I don't necessarily think it does. It does help the supers, but most of these supers are on older tracks, and there's things even like Funky Kong and Metal Mario and stuff that we have at higher levels because just from pulling on pipes, all these broccoli side dishes, high ends that we've been getting all these years. So I don't know. Anything you want to say about this red pit crew toad?
No, I mean, for me, the supers, if they don't have a good skill, it's not. I mean, I think the quad cap does. Of course, it helps them because you are looking at your account. You're looking at ways to conserve your high-end level tickets and cap tickets. So being able to take a super driver to level 8, being able to take it to 1,080 base points, like I will do that. I will do that on my accounts. I will uncap them and use those where I don't necessarily want to level up and yeah, of course, relatively they fall even further behind if you're talking about the absolute maxed out high end. But I mean, for accounts that don't have the luxury of getting, a maxed out loadout on every track on ranked, I think they can fill in need. But that being said, without a decent skill, there's not like a whole lot to be done here. You can see there's like a pretty solid option of plus skill drivers on all of the tracks that he has, and not any of the new track. I mean, you have the battle course, but I mean that's like pretty easy to cover. I feel like there's like a decent number of drivers top shelf on that one. So yeah, it's nice to be able to get him, but and I'm glad they're adding more super drivers to the game. But ultimately, I think this one's not so interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I don't really want to talk about this much more, but I mean, like if you go from if this was your ceiling before any of the caps, and now for a super, and this is the high end where their base was basically starting above, and then that ceiling is now all the way up here, and this one does go up higher than the floor. So, but you're thinking like you're looking at floor versus ceiling. Ultimately, these guys might help out more the free to play, go pass only type of accounts, but. I mean, ultimately, it'll get more tracks, that's for sure. But right now, yeah, I'm not too excited for how quad capping supers, except for like King Boo, DK, like these guys, you have to quad cap them. But everyone else, like I don't.
Yellow Pit Crew Toad, yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at the questions in your Discord right now. And Torch asks, with the quad cap, what premium skilled normals and supers would you quad cap first? Yeah, the ones with the good skills. On the drivers, and then carts and gliders, they also can, depending on your account, like they can basically when you need them for ranked, use them, and don't be shy with the quad caps on those.
Yeah, I think carts, like super carts, are going to be really, really strong to be able to look at quad capping them. I've already done it with the DK barrels, whatever it's called. So anyway, so there are some use there for carts, but I mean, I've never used a normal. I think all my normals are still single capped. I don't think I've ever used a normal for a track. But I mean, again, my account's very different from others. So I think you have to kind of use the spreadsheets, use whatever resources you have. But ultimately, I think the hype has gone too far for the value of supers, and like now supers are like helpful. I still if they started doing something new, which is I think they did a couple times. Like if you remember, I think the Rumby Runner was on like one of the Mushroom Gorges, and they added that as a top shelf. I think that's a great example of where you. And again, I know that's like technically the rarest item in the game because it's no longer technically the only paywalled item left in the game, but. That is a super on the top shelf of what was a new track. If they do more of that, then I will concede my opinion that it's not really doing too much for the meta. But overall, I think the supers right now, until they do that more often, are really a nice to have, and more there just so that you have to max things out in your daily selects before you can start getting some items. We do have 2 new carts and 2 new gliders. We have this green speedster overlap. We do have just kind of focused in on, because there's so many carts, just kind of focus on some of the large and above hitboxes. So you see here, not every card is listed here, but that's more just so you can kind of see what type of overlap it has with some of the meta. But it comes with Battle Course 1, Donut Plains 1T, Remix Ghost Valley 1R, Donut Plains 1, SNS 1RT for Donut Plains. So basically a lot of Donut Plains. Level 3 unlock gets the Donut Plains 1RT and the 2RT. It does get the Choco Mountain and the Ghost Valley 1T with level 6, and that Ghost Valley being the remix, that is. And then finally, the level 8 unlock is the Donut Plains 1RT, that remix, the brand new track that we were referring to. So, Enzo, what's your thoughts on the green speeder?
I haven't. Obviously, I don't have it because it's a gift. I don't know how big it is, but I think it's like reasonably large. But as I was saying before, like the ACR tracks in this too are not that interesting. So it's nice that it has, one of the new RMX Donut Plains 1T, and the RT is level 8 unlock. I don't know. And it's got the battle course, but ultimately the items in this tour have all kind of a weak start just due to the track selection. I will say that it starts with only 9 tracks. And it had 3 overlaps with Tanuki Kart and 2 overlaps with the Yellow Off-Roader, 2 overlaps with the Silver King. I mean, these are not difficult tricks to cover for the most part, so it'll be nice to get it as a reward, but yeah, I'm not that enthusiastic about its potential.
Yeah, no, I mean, getting some of these remix Donut Plains is helpful just because they're newer. But yeah, you're right. Overall, the coverage is not too hard to get. I think it'll be happy to get that as a reward. It's one of the few items that we can't just get with rubies right now, but we'll see if that continues. Maybe, there might be a case where these items don't come back in spotlight shops for a while. Maybe we'll see how that pattern goes up too. But ultimately, you're glad to win it for ranked. I will say the ranked reward right now this is going to the top 3 producers in the ranked rewards. But I do believe in future ranks, because I think that was the other big gripe that I heard people talk about, is the ranked rewards going from 40 rubies down to 25 for first place, only being 5 more than second place. So I do think that's worth griping about. Like, that's worth writing a ticket to. That does kind of stink, not like losing those rubies. But I do believe that there will be other prizes only for the people to get in first place, like me suits, etc. So just know that right now the top 3 get a prize, but most likely there will be high-end prizes only for that number 1 spot. So if you have to get third place as part of your overbaking, underbaking strategy, it's okay to get third place here. Save your tickets for that ranked when there is a high-end item only for first place, and get first place there. That's one way to do it too.
I really like the fact that they nerfed the first place amount of rubies.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, coming from the perspective of a spender, if you can pretty easily get first place every week, yeah, it's kind of a loss of rubies. But I mean, if I'm looking through the eyes of my free to play account, there are a lot of weeks where there is 1 or 2 people in my ranked who, just based on the loadouts, absolutely blow me away. And no matter how perfect my runs are, even if I go over 100%, whatever, I'm not coming close to them. And it was always a bummer to just first place is totally out of reach. So coming in second or third is a pretty normal occurrence for me on that account, and it is for a lot of people. And I think it makes it hurt less that the first place reward is not as high. You don't feel like you need to get to first place as much. So in that sense, I think it's good. I mean, we are complaining about less rubies, but I mean, we have to remember in this game, progress and rewards are relative. If everybody gets a bonus of 100 rubies, that's also every single one of your opponents in ranked is getting a bonus of 100 rubies, which they can use to spend on. Or if everybody's getting a bonus of 5 driver tickets, somebody in your ranked is going to, it's nice to get 5 driver tickets, but somebody in your ranked is going to use those, and you're going to have a harder competition. So it's all relative. And I think that for people who aren't accustomed to easily getting first every week, it's actually an improvement.
Okay, hey, that's a good point. Yeah, if you are not getting first, those are rubies that you could feel a little bit better about not getting. I agree there. Let's talk about the Flaming Speedster and the large cart overlap there. Obviously, it gets some unique courses compared to just getting the Donut Plains that look like that the green version got. But it got the Sunset Wilds T, the Cookie Land. If you're looking for coverage for ranked there, the Choco Island RT, which is in ranked for the week 2. Obviously, a lot of options there, especially even for larger carts. Got the SNES Choco Island 2RT, the Donut Plains 2R, and then level 3 unlock, you got the Choco Island 1 and the SNES Donut Plains 2. For level 6 unlock, you get the Sunset Wilds R, the Choco Island 1RT, and then for level 8, you get the Choco Island 1RT. Choco Islands you may not be as excited about. They've been around for a while. Then you get 2 Donut Plains thrown in there. Really, there's not that much coverage that it might be offering you. It looks really cool, though.
Does look cool.
I love the space. It kind of looks spacey. I don't know if it looks spacey to other people, but for me, I just love the flames. I think it looks really good with like the fire manta and everything. I don't know. It looks cool, but I think overall the coverage is subpar. What's your thoughts?
I mean, again, that's everything in this tour. I will say the overlaps in this one are pretty worrying. 5 overlaps with Yellow Off-Roader, 5 overlaps with Purple Bunny out of his 10 starting tracks, 4 with Tanuki Karts, 3 with Red Off-Roader, 3 with Paintster. These are all cards that people have invested in. There have been kind of meta cards in the past or currently. 3 with the new Black Cactus, Cact B. So the starting with 10 tracks, but the overlap is a little worrying on this one. And yeah, as you said, they just aren't good tracks to get in this tour. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention.
Yep.
Previously, commemorative items would get a boost on, I think, the first track of every cup. That's gone now. Just like the Spotlight boosts are gone on the second and third tracks for Spotlight items, the commemorative item boost is also gone.
Okay. That's good to know. I like it. Good. We have 2 new gliders. And by the way, huge shout out to Larry98 who has all these images that you see here with the coverages. This is coming from his brand new spreadsheet that is live, so definitely check that out. It's a great resource. For drivers, we can kind of filter it by top skills. For Karts, we can kind of filter by large hitbox. But for gliders, unfortunately, there's not like the skills don't really matter, the sizes don't matter. So in general, there's just so many gliders, it's nearly impossible to fit on the screen. So based on the way that those images are shown up, there are a couple gliders that don't fit on this slide. But feel free to check out his resource and check out the coverage for yourself on all the number of different trackers you have here. But the chocolate pretzel overlap here, it comes with Cookie Land, Choco Island, Choco Mountain Tea, Choco Island 1, Donut Plains 1. Then level 3 unlock is the Choco Mountain R and Donut Plains 1R. Level 6, you got the remixed Choco Island 1RT and the Donut Plains 2RT. And then for level 8, you got the Donut Plains, the remix version for 1T. So overall, again, kind of just similar in the similar vein as everything else we talked about. A lot of Donut Plains, a lot of Choco Islands, a lot of Choco Mountains. I don't know. It's really tough to get excited about these new items based on what tracks are currently in this tour, even with 15 cups. But Anselm, what's your thoughts on the chocolate pretzel?
Yeah, basically the same as you. Weak starts, just like most of the other items. 9 tracks, overlaps 4 times with chocolate donut, 4 times with the bright balloons, overlaps 3 times with vanilla and chocolate balloons, which is a kind of up and coming glider, and 3 times with the Nabbit oil paper umbrella, and 3 times with the green cat parafoil, which I think is a new top 10 glider. Yeah, nothing real convincing here for me.
Very cool. And then we finally have this Parapanini glider there. I'll have to change this title here. But I love the name of the Parapanini. But it comes with very similar style tracks that everything else new here this tour. Sunset Islands T, Donut Plains 1RT, the remix there. Remix Ghost Valley 1, SNES Choco Island 2, Choco Island 2T, Donut Plains 2, Sunset Wilds at level 6 unlock, and then the Remix Ghost Valley 1RT at level 6 unlock, and then level 8 unlock is the Remix Donut Plains 1R. What's your thoughts on the Parapanini?
Kind of same. It's interesting. They seem to be doing a pattern with the new items. They all get one of the new RMX donut planes, and then they get a second one, but only at a level 8 unlocked. I think I've seen that on 7 or all 8, maybe even all 8 of the new. Well, no, not the green me racing suit, but the other ones I think all have it. Additionally, interestingly enough, none of the new items have any Wario shipyards, which is pretty funny.
Ah.
Which is like the only track which is kind of worth having, I would say, in this tour. But yeah, again, equally unimpressive, and I won't be buying it.
Yeah, staying away from all these new items here this tour. However, I will say I will take all of these items, knowing that they are not getting any city tracks, at least for a couple tours here. Just coming out of last tour, it was so much cities, everything new that came out last tour. They're playing catch up. They're getting a lot of new non-cities. But and then it does look like the next two tours, I doubt we'll see cities. I know that there should be cities in this next tour, even the second one from that. So I do feel good that all of these items, if you're brand new to the game and you're looking for coverage on these specific tracks, this is not a bad time to get these, because you know that you'll get at least 3 tours worth of no cities. That's my personal opinion. So I think you can't go wrong with at least investing in that perspective. But I think most of us who've been playing for a long time, especially the whole 3 years, are pretty well covered with Donut Plains and Choco Island. So there you go here. There's some updates to the Daily Select. Shout out to Quento for posting this. But I will say the Daily Selects, big recommendation would be just to max out the plaid ribbon if you had other things in the Daily Selects already maxed out. But there's some new normal carts added. The Bitty Buggy was obviously the one the community was up in arms or celebrating or pitchforking, whatever it was, talking about. I think everyone's over it by now. But some new changes here. Any perspective that you're taking, Antilev, when it comes to maxing out daily selects, or how you've been approaching this?
So I had my comment cards maxed out before this update. And now, obviously, I don't, because they added some. So I just did a quick calculation to see how many total tickets and dupes I would need together to get my common cards, to get those 2 slots maxed out again. It's over 500 tickets. They put 6 new common cards, and I had them all like level 2. So it's exactly 100 tickets to take a common card from level 1 to level 8. And I have to do that with 6 cards. So it's not realistic for me to get. I'm not buying them. I started like first couple days like buying the cards. It's like, really, I'm going to spend 500 or 1,000 coins every day, and it's going to take me I don't know a year to do this. Like, whatever. I'll just forget it. I'll focus on indeed buying the plaid ribbon, and see where I go from there. But it's. They added a lot of stuff to the shop. I think they really don't want us to have these categories maxed out, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think I know Sammy's mentioned this a lot, that he doesn't think that Nintendo expects anybody to be maxing these out. I will say, I take it with a grain. I do think that Nintendo is expecting the top 5% of or top 1% of players to max these out. I do think that Nintendo wants to dangle that carrot. They want us to max things out. And so that carrot is always supposed to be dangling in front of us. You know what I mean? You get that carrot, and I think Nintendo has to move the carrot. That's kind of Nintendo's the way I'm seeing Nintendo doing this. But I think those people who are sitting there eating the carrot, yeah, they're enjoying that carrot, but they put a lot of time and energy into getting it that way. I'm sitting here. I'm not getting anything that's not a high end for sure. But I will say, in my daily selects, I am salivating at these cap tickets, specifically the driver ones. I haven't bought any cart, but today I did buy a high end driver cap ticket, because I know how valuable they are right now, especially for these Mii suits. I took the gold Mii suit to quad cap. I want to do the question mark block, and so there's even some other Mii suits as well. So for me, that actually becomes a little bit more enticing, but that's only for like the larger whales there. In general, I've been really happy with my shop. I will say, just from past experiences of them moving this carrot, there's a certain point where when you do max things out, where all of a sudden Nintendo just shuts down your shop. So I'm kind of like in this sweet spot where like half my stuff's maxed, half of like the slots, and so I'm seeing tickets, but I'm not sure why they do it that way. But overall, I think the one thing you could, if you want to buy any tickets and you had some of your shop max, would be get that super glider ticket and get rid of the plaid ribbon. That will, I think, by maxing out that category, really smart idea. I know Sammy was one of the first people to get on the mountain and tell people max out your gliders first. Now, again, don't worry about any of the high ends. The high ends are there. You do need to max one of any, for the new players. And I always like catering to the new players as much as possible. Just max out one high end on this list. If you do that, you will start to see high end tickets when you start maxing out categories, or on the bottom row. That's always a possibility too. But
you don't need a level 8 high end item to see them on the bottom row. Normally, that's only for maxing out categories. So if having a level 8 high end item is out of the realm of possibility for you, then don't worry about it, and don't worry about maxing the categories either.
Oh, fantastic point. Appreciate that. All right, let's get into the Spotlight shop. I ran out of time, so I wasn't able to do this for the karts and gliders. But the way that this works is if an item is used on a ranked track to some extent, I think it's second shelf and third shelf, they become eligible to be a part of this pool of drivers. Now, I will say, good thing that Raker pointed out is that the reason that the yellow off-roader, although it's used in week 2 of ranked, although it's not, the reason it's not in the Spotlight shop, it's actually at level 3 unlocked. So I thought that was a really smart pickup from him, is that if it has that level 3 unlocked, it wouldn't be considered a part of this pool. A lot of us have the yellow off-roader at level 3 or above. So most of us are like, why isn't this there? But just want to kind of point that out. It does look like it doesn't count the level 3 unlocks, level 6 unlocks, level 8 unlocks. But it does seem if something's a part of ranked, one of these 6 ranked tracks, then it could be a part of this pool. But shout out to Sam IT, who's done a lot of the data mining. I know early on there was a Discord community, the MKT Discord party or whatever it was, that had done some preliminary research. But this is actually some data mining data around percentages. So you'll notice here that there are 4 drivers that are 100% going to be in your Spotlight shop. Those will be Rosalina Chef, which is a great one to get, having Giant Banana. Now, her coverage is a little weird because she kind of came at a city tour, but having that plus skill, certainly worth 150 rubies if you have it expendable. You also have Mario Racing, not quite so intriguing, Mario SNES, and then Shy Guy Pastry Chef. So those 3 are 100%, and I might just kind of in future tours may or may not keep this intact. But I think a lot of people are asking, because I polled our server and said, hey, what would you guys like to see incorporated in the rundown? And a lot of people said, I'm looking at these Spotlight items. They all look so good. I don't know which one to get. And so which one should I get? And that's what I'd like to see happen. And I think I took that piece of advice, I chewed it up and really thought about the best way to help people with this. And ultimately, I decided I think I want to incorporate that in the top 10. So we'll get to a little bit more of that. But I think when it comes to the Spotlight, the number one resource you can use are some of the trackers out there and understanding your account and what gaps might be out there. And that's really, there's no top 10 that fits everybody's loadout, that fits everybody's inventory. So we're kind of incorporate some of that in the top 10. But I think when you're looking at these drivers, and this was a rotating list, so it's really everything up until, like, and we kind of mentioned this before, up to the ice cream tour. But these are items that will most likely change next tour. So if you like any of these items that are here right now, you might want to get them. They might change next tour, but you'll notice that every single day you kind of start to see the same things from the last 4 or 5 days. So just know that these items these are not going away. You'll probably see a lot of these repeating even from tour to tour. Here's the interesting part is I remember when I was going for top 10, and there were sometimes where like, I just want to get this one item. I wish I could get this item. And I do think Nintendo kind of caters to that to some extent. Is like it gives you an option. It allows you to be able to get something if you really want it for ranked or really whatever, and you want to either use your rubies or spend money to do it. You at least have the option. There's so many people that just don't even have the option, or hey, I only have 250 rubies. I can't go into this 100 pipe for this one item because I know I'm going to get stuck halfway through the pipe, and then I have to buy 4 more packs. This at least gives you an option to be able to get something that you know that you need and move on. They do even kind of add some of the, I know we complained at the very beginning of the year, fixed DS, because we really loved like the morning when you open up the app and you see everything. You're like, I wonder what I'm gonna get. You go to sleep even kind of excited about what the next day comes. well, this is a nice way to do it. I think it's kind of fun that they rotate through. I will just point out there are a couple different items here, 7 in total, that are gold items that, because we don't have any gold special pipe, they've kind of included at really, really small odds. About 3% is from what Same IT has notified us about. But I do think a lot of these are worth getting, even for 150 rubies if you want to. Especially if you don't have King Bob on gold, you don't have King Boo, you don't have Gold Cooper free running, Dry Bones gold, Yoshi egg. Certainly get those for 150 rubies. If you don't have them, you should get them. That would be highly recommended. Everything else is really going to depend on your account. Top skills are going to be great too. I think Karts and Gliders might be a little more interesting. Ran out of time after spending about 12, 13 hours putting this hunting together. And so what's your thoughts on the Spotlight shop?
Yeah, like super interesting. I really like the way they're doing it. Those percentages you see next to them, we don't fully know what those numbers mean. They show up in the data mining as like weights for the item. So maybe what we assume is that like you add all the weights together and that's the total what's in the pool, and then if you have 100 weight, this adds up to 1,671. So if you have a 100 weight item, then you have 100 divided by 1671 to be the chance of, and that's about I think a 6% chance of being in an individual slot, or around a 30% chance you'll see it in any one of the 6 slots. A 50 weight item is about a 3% chance you'll see it in an individual slot, and about a 17% chance that you'll see it in any of your 6 slots. And then you've got the 3 weight items, which is just like, no chance whatsoever. Here, let me calculate that one really quick. 3 divided by 1671 is 0.18% chance, so about a 1/5% chance. And the chance that you'll see it in a given slot, and the chance that you'll see it at any slot is 1%. So 1% chance for any of those gold drivers to appear, for any of those specific gold drivers to appear. I think what's interesting, some people claim to see Gold Chuck in their Spotlight shop. I've not seen any proof of that, and the data mining doesn't bear it out. We have, however, discovered some kind of method to this madness. It seems like we've got these feature items with the higher weights. These are, maybe items that were in the trailer that were featured heavily, like Chef Mario, Chef Mario is a Spotlight, but like the other ones that we saw maybe in the trailer, they're kind of in the theme of the tour or featured in the tour. Mm-hmm. And then the 50 weight items are kind of like ranked drivers, or drivers that are in ranked. However, not all ranked drivers are in there. Newer items, we know items more recent, the Sunday tour, as you already said, cannot be in there. Non-seasonal items can't really be in there. So like items which are Christmas themed or whatever, probably not going to see in there. And also, weirdly enough, city linked items, which is not a hard and fast rule, but like we would expect to see Baby Mario Koala in the shop. We would expect to see Luigi Lederhosen in the shop, but they're not there. They're not recent and they're not seasonal, but they are the sort of signature drivers of a specific city tour. We also don't see Ty Daisy for the same reason, because she was from the Bangkok tour. That's not a hard and fast rule, because there are like city affiliated drivers in there, like Mario Golf, Luigi Golf are both city drivers, or they debuted during a city tour. Charging Chuck the same. So we don't really understand perfectly those rules, but there does seem to be some restriction on city featured or city debuting items not being in the pipe. That's what we know. I think we will know more going further ahead. The more we see of it and the more data we can collect.
Yeah, and so if you're thinking to yourself, hey, Studfit, we asked to get help selecting our spotlights. We still need help with this. Just tune in for the top 10. This is probably going to be the longest episode of the rundown ever. We're anticipating to 2.5 hours or so. So if you want to fast forward to that section, that's perfectly fine. But I promise you, we will help you out during the top 10 section in a very surprising way. I'll tell you that right now. I will say, whether it's this slide, and again, I ran out of time, or other slides, if you would like, we did have Marco, who was doing a lot of our slides, who has retired from doing a lot of the slides. This was a paid position. If you are interested in help, if you know PowerPoint really well and you'd like to could use some help with some gift cards, contact me. I'd be happy to interview for you for that position. But that was a paid position. Marco has he's run into a lot of time and not being able to devote to doing the slides. So he has retired, and so we do have a new position. If you're interested, let me know. But hopefully we can recreate this content every tour. We'll see what happens, but just want to put that out there for those that might be interested and really are interested in data in general. All right, let's get into the buffs. So we're like an hour in, and so we're just now finally getting into the buffs. But King Mario, obviously we knew he was going to have a tough start coming out of that city tour, but he does get 5 brand new tracks. So he's number 111 on our list. 10 cities here. He's got the Cookie Land, Choco Mountain R, Remix Donut Plains 1R, the regular Donut Plains 2, Donut Plains 2 RT. You got 2 drivers with 4 buffs, including Luigi Knight and Daisy Sailor. Luigi Knight got the Wario Shipyard T, Donut Plains 1T, and Battle Course 1. I think the Wario Shipyards you're kind of happy to see him get that. That's some of these tracks are not bad for Boomerang. Then you got a number of drivers with 3 buffs, including Charging Chuck Gold, getting Wario Shipyard T, Sunset Wilds R, and Donut Plains 1 RT. And then you got Rosalina Chef, who's still kind of climbing out of her city track debut with Cookie Land, Choco Island 1 RT, and Donut Plains 1 RT. Certainly not tracks necessarily that you're too excited about. Maybe the Donut Plains 1 RT, the remix version, you might be excited about, but other than that, not so great buffs. You got Hammer Bro, Me Racing Suit, Dry Bowser, Me Racing Suit, Mario Racing, and Pastry Chef Racing Suit. Anything you want to mention here about our King, Antelope?
Yeah, so okay, first of all, full disclaimer, I don't own him on either account. I pulled the pipe on my free-to-play account just because like my kids wanted to have some Mario. Didn't get him on my main account. I didn't spend a single rupee on that pipe because I thought it was massive bait. So I am obviously going to be a bit biased when I talk about Mario King's buffs going forward because I made the decision not to get him. That being said, for having gotten 5 buffs, I'm a little bit underwhelmed with them. I will say 2 of them are exclusives. At least for for the purposes of our model, they count as Coinbox exclusives. The Choco Mountain R, we didn't have a Coinbox driver on that before. However, we did have Shy Guy Ninja, so if you have him at a high level, it's also like a decent alternative. But it should be a nice Coinbox track in the future. It is an older track, though. And then Donut Plains 2 RT also... it does have a Coinbox driver, but that driver is Hakama, who unlocks it at level 8. So for the purposes of our model, we don't consider level 8 unlocks when we're talking about Coinbox exclusivity, just because level 8, especially for a driver as weak as Hakama, is not realistic for the majority of players. So that counts as as an exclusive for King Mario as well. However, I think that's also a Yoshi Kangaroo overlap, and this is a very difficult track to Coinbox with all the jumps. I think Boomerang works better there. For the rest, he gets one of the new Donut Plains track, but that's okay, and not one of the ones that's in ranked. He gets the Cookie Land, which is not, as of now, not a very valuable buff just because we have a very low weight on the battle tracks. And then finally Donut Plains 2, which is, that's one you've got easily covered. I would say even though he has 5 buffs, his buffs are less impressive than Luigi Knight and even Gold Charging Chuck. Gold Charging Chuck got a Wario Shipyard. He got new RMX Donut Plains that's in rank B2, and he got Sunset Wilds R, which isn't an exclusive, but the only driver there was Kamek, and Kamek's a medium and Chuck is a heavy, so it's almost like an exclusive for him, even though the model doesn't give him credit for an exclusive. Luigi Knight got 2 Wario Shipyard variants, which is great. Got the Battle Course again. We're not sure how those are going to be, so it's kind of almost like city value for now. But then he got RMX Donut Plains 1T as well. I think that's a better set of buffs than both of those guys have a better set of buffs than the Mario King.
Yeah, it's a great point about Cookie Land, and although it being a battle track that's in ranked, and he's the only Coinboxer there. So I saw Shy Guy Ninja Shy Guy Kart, the YouTube content creator. Definitely check out his channel. He had a monster score that probably, I think, like 10,000 higher than Carlos and Kareem. So he crushed it. So I think that's really nice. But to your point, what happens next tour? what happens to tour after that? And we have a new battle track, and Cookie Land is never used in ranked ever again. It's kind of like a city track going forward. We don't know how it'll
we don't know yet. Yeah,
but that's certainly within the realm of possibility.
Yep.
Cool. Let's move on to the rest of the buffs. We got a number of drivers with 2 buffs, including PD Piranha getting Cookie Land and Choco Island 1 RT. White Tanuki Mario getting Donut Plains 1 and Remix Donut Plains 1R. Cat Luigi getting Cookie Land and Remix Donut Plains 1 RT. And then Dr. Peach getting the Donut Plains 1 and Remix Donut Plains 1T. Just going to talk about the top row. The rest of the drivers are kind of pretty low. I will say Mario Chef getting both Donut Plains 1, the Remix, and the Cookie Land. Both are pretty good since they're both in rank. So it's a nice little Chef Mario toast there for him. Obviously, I have him as a pretty good driver for both of those tracks. I'm using them twice in ranked for this week alone. So interesting there. Anything you want to say about these drivers?
White Snooki Mario got really good. Got 2 new tracks, one of which is in ranked. So his buffs are very strong. Dr. Peach as well. I think Dr. Peach and Cat Luigi now are 2 top non-plus skill drivers. They have a lot of tracks.
Good point there. Drivers with 1 buff. Question mark block suit getting the Remix Donut Plains 1R. That's a phenomenal track for him. We got Gold Me Racing suit getting the regular Donut Plains 1RT. Certainly not quite as good, but nice to see them throwing a track for him too. Donut Plains, Daisy Tie-Dye getting the Remix Donut Plains 1T. That's pretty decent for her. It's not necessarily great for Coinbox, but it's a nice track to have that Coinbox driver on. Rosalie Vondam getting the Remix Donut Plains 1T. Pink Shy Guy Ninja getting the Remix Donut Plains 1RT as well. Berta White getting Cookie Land. Tanuki Rosalina, which actually the Tanuki Leaf is not a bad skill for the battle mode.
It got buffed as well. The radius of the leaf got buffed
by about 62%.
62%.
Yeah.
Correct,
yeah, but you can jump over the obstacles. You can gather the coins with your tail. You can hit opponents. It's actually pretty slick. Nice new skill there for those who have Super Leaf, at least for battle mode perspective. And then you got the Cheap Me Racing suits, surprisingly number 39 on our list, getting the Remix Donut Plains 1. And that's about where I'll cut off the line. I will say Donkey Kong Jr. SNES getting the battle mode. Not that battle mode is necessarily too impressive, but it is nice that they try to treat him pretty well. They've taken good care of DK SNES for quite some time. You got Matt Nabbit on the list as well. But what are your thoughts here on the drivers with 1 buff?
Once again, Gold Me, disappointing buff compared to Blockhead. Pink Shy Guy Ninja got another. I thought he was kind of done getting buffed at being in rank, but he got the second week ranked track, which is an incredible buff for him. Ty Daisy, she got buffed on the new RMX Donut Plains 1T. That's an exclusive track for her. She's the only coin boxer on that track. She's back up to 5 exclusives, and I think she's tied for 3rd most exclusives in the game now. I just verify that with you. Yeah, there's 3 drivers with 7, 1 with 6, and 3 with 5, so she's up there. But other than that, not a whole lot to say.
On the very, very bottom, I put Mario and Yoshi together. I literally ran out of Atlanta, but they got the same track, so just kind of threw them in there together. But they're ranked 172 and 179, respectively, for those drivers. Let's talk about Karts, because we still got a lot to talk about for the top 10, and hopefully we can cover that in the next hour. But Karts with 4 buffs, we got Cact B getting Cookie Land, Remix Donut Plains 1, Remix Ghost Valley 1RT, and Remix Donut Plains 1T. Certainly, just like anything else, getting some of these Choco Islands or Donut Plains this tour aren't that great, but getting the Remix Donut Plains 1, the Remix Donut Plains 1T, and the Cookie Land, I don't know, that's a pretty good buff for the Cact B. You got the Black Carriage getting, which is, relatively new coming out of last tour. The Warrior Shipyard RT, Ghost Valley 1T, and Sunset Wilds RT. Certainly with a lot of these other items getting some of the lighter colored courses, the fun, upbeat courses, to have some of these darker Warrior Shipyard much more fits the theme of the Black Carriage. And then the Gold Double Decker getting the Choco Mountain RT, Donut Plains 1RT Remix, the Donut Plains 2, and then the Donut Plains 1RT. And then there are 4 carts that got 3 buffs, including the Shielded Speedster, which kind of tip in the hand there, popped into our top 10. Warrior Shipyard R and Chaco Mountain R, and then the remix Donut Plains 1T. Phenomenal tracks there. The Speedster walked away with. And then the Lightning Streamliner, I think one day very soon will be the number one card in the game. It came away with the Battle Course 1, Chaco Mountain T, and then the remix Donut Plains 1R. Certainly good buffs there. And then there is Coconut 1. They got the Cookie Land, the remix Donut Plains 1T, and then the Donut Plains 1RT, and then the Gold Standard getting the Battle Course 1, Donut Plains, the remix Donut Plains 1R, and then the Donut Plains 2RT. So, Anselov, what do you think about these drivers that got 4 and 3 buffs?
The CAC-B is incredibly strong buffs, and it jumped up a lot in the model. Even the Cookie Land isn't worth a whole lot because we're those battle courses we're not giving much weight to, but the other 3 tracks are all great. Out of the tracks that you could get buffed, the returning retros that you could get buffed on, RMX Ghost Valley 1RT is actually one of the best ones. It's kind of hard top shelf to cover, and it's a relatively recent track, being less than a year old. So great buffs there. I got a rank buff. Shielded Speedster, again, also, like you said, amazing buffs, and really rocketed up the charts. It doesn't have a lot of tracks yet, but it's still very, very new. So the fact that it's already in the top 10 means that it is probably going to give you extremely good value if you have it and you invest in it now, because its ranked window is, I think, not even really started yet.
Wow.
Yeah, and Lightning Streamliner, it's good to see it in the top 10 because it is. I very rarely invest in new items, but this is one I triple capped and took the level 7 immediately. So I'm happy to see it continuing to get strong buffs.
So this is in your maybe your top list for quad capping if you were to make that type of move?
Well, it would need a lot more tracks, probably at least like 5 more tracks before I'd even consider that.
Okay, all right, good to know. Carts with 2 buffs. Got the blue-green capsule cart, getting the remix Donut Plains 1R and the remix Donut Plains 1RT. Piranha Pipes getting the Battle Course 1 and the Donut Plains 1RT. Not necessarily great buffs there. Red Off-Roader getting the Battle Course 1 and the Sunset Wilds R. Strawberry Soft Swerve getting Cookie Land and Choco Island 2RT. Those are the ones that stick out. I will say the Daikon Rocket getting the remix Donut Plains 1RT and the Donut Plains 2RT. Not too bad busts there, but that one I'm keeping an eye on. It's kind of interesting. It's already at 30. Everything else here on this list I'm not necessarily going to review, but what are your thoughts on these cards that got 2 buffs, Antelov?
Yeah, no, not too much. The blue-green capsule card got 2 new RMX, and so did the white fast rank. But it's interesting. I think there's no items this tour that got both new ranked tracks, both new RMX Donut Plains, Karts or gliders. So getting 2 of those in general is about as good as you can get, whether they're ranked or not. Other than that, yeah, not a whole lot to talk about here.
There you go. Carts with 1 buff. You got the Warrior Wagon getting the Battle Course, Cupid's Arrow getting the remix Donut Plains 1, White Bruiser getting the remix Donut Plains 1T, the Cream Cat Cruiser getting the remix Donut Plains 1, Coral Jet Cruiser getting the remix Ghost Valley 1. And those are really the big ones that I see. Combo Cruiser did get the Cookie Land, which again, not necessarily the best buff per se. B-Dasher Mark II getting the Battle Course 1. Good win here a little for the Tropical Truck getting the remix Donut Plains 1. That's a nice ranked track there for my favorite cart in the game right now. And then you got even a couple supers getting some buffs here with the Bolt Buggy and Dasher 2. Of course, those are battle tracks though. Angel, what are your thoughts on the carts with 1 buff?
I think you see that, and you see the supers getting buffed, the super drivers getting buffed. And it seems like the battle courses are going to be less. Yeah, we used to call it paywalled. I think we're going to call it something else now, but they're less difficult to cover the top shelves on than your regular racing courses. So, other than that, yeah, not all to speak specifically of the items. I'm surprised Cupid's Arrow is still getting buffs. That's getting a pretty old item. It came out in February, but still managed to hold strong at number 3 and still getting a new ranked buff.
New ranked buff. Yeah, nice buff there. For gliders with 4 and 3 buffs. We got the Vanilla Lake. I'm sorry. Yeah. We just transitioned from carts to gliders. So these are the top gliders that got buffs when you're talking about number and sheer quantity. There are 5 gliders that got 4 buffs, including the Vanilla and Chocolate Balloons, which is broken our top 15. It gets the Cookie Land, the Remix Choco Island 1RT, the Choco Island 1T, and the Remix Donut Plains 1T. So got some Choco, got some Cookie, got some Donut. It kind of fits the vanilla and chocolate balloons type of theme there. Then the Black Star Shoe got the Battle Course 1, the Choco Mountain R, the Remix Ghost Valley 1RT, and the Remixed Donut Plains 1RT. Some decent tracks there, but it's certainly not necessarily as excited about the Battle Course. Silver Luigi's Mustache, number 31 on our list. It gets Wario's Shipyard R, Wario Shipyard T, which I saw some of the other mustaches kind of get those earlier on. I'm thinking Waluigi and Wario, etc. And then Donut Plains 1R, and then Battle Course 1. So some interesting buffs there for the Silver Luigi's Mustache. For Luigi's Hat Balloon, got Warrior Shipyard R, Battle Course 1, just regular Donut Plains 1RT, and then Remix Donut Plains 1R. And then White Waves Origami Glider, phenomenal. I can't wait for this one to hit the Spotlight Shop. I will get that right away. Yeah, Warrior Shipyard RT, got the Shipyard T, and then the Remix Ghost Valley 1RT, and then the Battle Course 1. So that rounds out the gliders with 4 buffs. As for the gliders with 3 buffs, Tropical Balloons. This is the one glider that I would drop. Right now it's in the Spotlight that I would drop rubies on to get. It's a beautiful, beautiful glider. It would really go well with the Tropical Truck. So I'm really excited about this coming out. I will say I wasn't as excited about these buffs. I'm loving the Remix Donut Plains 1RT, but Sunset Wilds and Cookie Land not as excited about. You also have the Tulip Corsage, which has the Remix Donut Plains 1, Remix Donut Plains 1R, and then the regular Donut Plains 1. I think the above average buffs there with the 2 remix tracks. Fire Manta Glider getting the Sunset Wilds R, Cookie Land, and the Remix Donut Plains 1T. I'd say medium. Good, when it comes to those buffs, it could have gotten better, could have gone worse. And then Boomasks gets the Battle Course 1, Sunset Wilds, and then the Remix Ghost Valley 1RT. You're glad to get that last one for sure. Mario's Hat Balloons gets three buffs. Battle Course 1, Choco Mountain 1R, and then the SNES Donut Plains 1R. And then Gold Cloud Balloons, number 161 on our list, because it came out in a city tour.
All city start.
I was doing a double take when I saw it. I was like, wow, a coin glider, number 161. That's crazy. But I got the Sunset Wilds RT, the Remix Donut Plains 1RT, and then the regular Donut Plains 2RT. So, Enzo, what do you think about these gliders, the top gliders, when it comes to volume buffs?
Yeah, I mean, the Vanilla Chocolate Balloons came out really strong recently. It's getting a lot of buffs lately, so it's good, pretty interesting. Tropical Balloons, it's in the Spotlight Shop right now. I would check your coverage. For me, it's useful on both accounts, so I actually bought it on both accounts.
Wow.
And it's in ranked week 2. It's in ranked actually week 1 and week 2 because it's got the Cookie Land as well. Other than that, not a whole lot to talk about. Like I said, like the tracks in this tour are not necessarily ones that you want your invested items to be getting, just because they're a lot of older tracks aren't as valuable or hard to cover. So yeah. I don't see anything here which got like the Tulip Corsage is still, got 2 of the RMX Donut Plains variants, which is strong buffs for sure, but it's still struggling to overcome its all city start. It's even 3 months after its debut, it's only at 13 tracks, which is just, it's just not enough. That is the tragedy of an all city start.
Yeah, that is tough. Let's talk about the gliders with 2 buffs. We got the Green Cat Parafoil getting the Remix Donut Plains 1 and Remix Donut Plains 1T. That's a phenomenal double buff there for the Green Cat Parafoil. 1-Bit 1-Up Mushroom got the Battle Course 1, but then the Remix Donut Plains 1, phenomenal buff there. You got Wicked Topaz getting the Choco Mountain and Choco Mountain T. Not bad. These are old courses you probably have coverage on, though, so it's probably not helping you out too much. Secret Scroll getting the Cookie Land and the Remix Donut Plains 1T. Mint and Berry Balloons getting the Coconut Island 1RT, and then the Remix Donut Plains 1. Candlelight Flight getting the Cookie Land and Donut Plains, Remix Donut Plains 1. But, Ansel, what are your thoughts with the gliders that got 2 buffs?
Basically the same as what you said. Green Cat Parafoil, 8-Bit 1-Up Mushroom are both looking really strong.
Really strong there. And then finally, to round out the buffing section of the rundown, we have a lot of gliders that got 1 buff. This was This was excruciating to look at here. This is an eye chart for sure, but Wonderful Wings tops the list, getting the Remix Donut Plains 1T, which is just about, if you're only going to get one buff, a phenomenal buff to get. So the Wonderful Wings, spoiler alert, moves into our number one on our top 10 list. I've been trying not to spoil too much, but this is why it gets the top number one on our list. Obviously, it was one of our top 5 gliders for a long period of time, but this one buff helped push it over the edge, that's for sure. Luigi's Mustache getting the Remix Donut Plains 1RT. You got the Golden Wings getting a nice phenomenal buff there too. So you'll notice there, really, really strong buff for the Remix Donut Plains 1T. The Prawn Plant Balloons, not so great of a buff, gets the Remix Choco Island 1RT. 8-Bit Bullet Bill just gets the Battle Course. Secure Origami Glider gets the Remix Donut Plains 1R. The Origami Glider getting the Battle Course 1. Red and Gold Umbrella getting the Remix Donut Plains 1. Kind of skip over some of these. Sky High Flyer getting the Remix Donut Plains 1R. Flying Flappers gets the Remix Ghost Valley 1. That's probably where I'll draw the line. I will say the Gold Eggshell Glider getting the Remix Donut Plains 1T is a phenomenal track to get. Everything else, I will say the Lava Rocks getting the Choco Mountain R. Wish that one was a double buff with some of the other tracks that it could have gotten, but not bad there. But what are your thoughts here on the gliders with one buff, Angela?
Not a whole lot. We don't have a lot of gliders on the 2 ranked tracks. It's mostly like the new items and then like a couple of other things. But other than that, yeah, not really a whole lot to say.
All right, cool. Well, let's get into the algorithm. There were a couple minor tweaks. We'll let you talk about it necessarily before we get into what was the most excited to talk about today, which is our top 10 and going through all that data. But Antolev, tell us a little bit of some of the changes you made.
So we did have to make a couple of choices leading up to this because the game is so different now. The biggest difference is that we have a new tour format. Instead of having 12 cups, which has been the case going back to the Baby Rosalina tour all the way back in early 2020, we're up to 15 cups now, so 45 tracks. And like a standard tour before would be something like, okay, a new set of 3 tracks on one course, and that would be in there twice, so 6. Then we'd have 10, we'd have 9 returning courses that we'd have each the NRT variant, and then we'd have 3 random RTs. So like RT would be kind of about a third as common as other returning retros and R and T tracks. The way it's set up this tour is we've got 4 battle courses out of the 45. We've got 1 of the new tracks being doubled. I think that's RMX Donut Plains 1RT, and the rest we have 10 courses that we have all 4 variants on. So this is potentially very huge in that RTs will be appearing at the same rate as N, R, and T tracks, in which case the value of RTs is going to go up a lot in the algorithm. We didn't make that jump all at once yet. I kind of made an average, because look, normally what we use is a 1-year history of actual ACR appearance. But if they're going to change the game like that, we're going to have to obviously change how we weight the different types of tracks. So what I did is I made an average of the current weighting in the current tour, and with the previous 25 weeks of history before that, if it becomes more obvious that RTs are here to stay and going to be as common as the other types of tracks, then their value will increase to become the same as the N, R, and T tracks. And battle courses are a new category of courses. They have, like I said before, 8.89% appearance rate in this tour. So I've started them off with a conservative 5% weighting. And that's how we've changed those weightings. So you do see a lot of movement, especially items which have heavy RT representation do get a bit of a boost this year. We've also played with a little bit of the sliders a little bit. The second criterion where you have what's called paywall ratio, that's how we measured the most paywall tracks versus the least paywall tracks and giving bonuses to the coverage of the most paywall tracks. We called it paywall because a lot of those tracks had a very few number of high ends and or a lot of times heavily like banner only items. Okay, banner only items don't exist anymore, so we can't really call them paywalled as much, but they are basically, it is a measure of how hard it is to cover that track. It is basically based on how many, number one, are there any supers top shelf on the track, and if not, then how many high ends are there? The less there are, the harder it is to cover, and the more of a bonus it gets. We reduced the bonus of that from 35 to 30% because with the Spotlight Shop, it's going to be easier when you have ranked or when you have ACR to buy an item that will specifically cover where you don't have a hole. So I think that maybe even is going to go down in the future. We're trying not to make any too big moves here that are going to shake up the rankings too much. And the other thing we changed was we lowered the cart size bonus. It was 20% before. We lowered it to 15% now. Like I said, that may get reverted if it comes apparent that Coinbox is still the dominant force, even for the battle tracks for scoring. But for now, we think it's prudent to kind of scale that back because a lot of people are saying, hey, hitbox is not so important with battle courses. That being said, let's go to the top 10.
Let's get to the top 10, and I'm pretty excited about this. Get a nice little drum roll. We're actually going to reverse the order, so we'll start at number 10. So we got the Bronze Me Racing Suit. It fell one spot. It has 19 assumed tracks and 4 cities. So what you'll see here on the right side of the screen these are the tracks that it currently has. It is a little smaller. All these slides are available on Reddit, so you can zoom in. There'll be a PNG, so you'll be able to file format, you'll be able to look it up and be able to see it much more clearly. But the only things shown here are plus skills. So you can see right off the bat, the 3DS Bowser's Castle T, certainly a strong driver there. Meowser at a really high level, I think level 6, is really the only competition on that track. Even Rock Mountain just has Meowser and then the Yellow Pit Crew Toad. So you can kind of see some of these tracks, but this is really a moment in our experience with Mario Kart Tour where we have to start to look at a little of this coverage. And I think the main point is for you to be able to look at your spreadsheets and be able to decide how you invest in here. But from a snapshot, you can kind of see some of the tracks that are the most enticing or the easiest to be able to see value for in investing. The Bowser's Castle 1T certainly just got one driver there, level 8. Warrior Shipyard RT certainly only has 2 Lucky 7 drivers and a Giant Banana driver. You see the Game Boy Advance Bowser's Castle 2 RT just has a Lucky 7 and driver and a Boomerang driver, so no Coinbox drivers there. You see the Choco Mountain RT. Certainly we kind of have that in this All Cup ranking. Just has 2 Coinbox drivers, so no Boomerang drivers there. But really, other than Choco Mountain Choco Mountain 1 and the Mushroom Gorge and the Warrior Shipyard and regular and R, really, and I guess technically the Airship Fortress RT, really there's not that many tracks that have over 4 other top skill drivers. So I think in general that's a plus for the Bronze Me Racing Suit. Obviously, it has that the Me bonus base point there that now can be quad capped. But what I did is I leveraged, and so all that whole section there you can check out either on Reddit or you can look at Larry98's phenomenal MKT data sheet. You also have on the left side the top skill pairing. So what I did is I leveraged a tool that is being operated by a turtle dude. In fact, Ansela pointed me towards this tool. I think
it's a really cool tool.
It's a really cool tool. Definitely check out the link in the description and use it for you can kind of play around with things. So what I did is I looked at, I put the Bronze Me Racing Suit in there and then asked for 2 and then also 3 drivers to compare with and see if there was kind of a more obvious pairing. Typically, if I added 3 additional and there were a couple options, I kind of narrowed it down to 2. And so sometimes you'll see on this slide, we just have 2 pairings. So what this means are these, if you want to have the Bronze Me Racing Suit as a pillar for or you've already invested in, and now is it a pillar in your accounts, these are some drivers that will give you, if you just said, hey, what three other drivers could I invest in to give me the most coverage? And these are the only drivers I have as the pillars for my account. They would be Charging Chuck, Yoshi Kangaroo, and Mario Style of You. And if you invested in only these 4 drivers and you had them at say level 6 or 8 or whatever, you would get covered on those at that level. 82 out of the 227 tracks. So that's
This is a really good strategy for or taking your quad cap strategy. Say, I'm definitely going to quad cap this driver. What other drivers should I quad cap or plan to quad cap along with it to not get too much overlap and cover the most tracks possible?
Yeah, and one thing you'll notice is as we go through this top 10, you'll start to pick up some trends. So you'll see Mario's Battle of You on this a lot. You'll see Yoshi Kangaroo a lot, much more than I thought I would. I was kind of expecting Yoshi Kangaroo and Luigi Vacation to kind of be like kind of neck and neck, but it's very different. I think actually looking back, I probably would have rather invested more into Yoshi Kangaroo than into Luigi Vacation, based on looking at this tool and seeing what kind of coverage I could have gotten. So just put that out there. You'll notice some trends as we go through this top 10. And then the very bottom left section of this slide, you'll see a top skill overlap. So bronze me racing suit, not including, again, all these are not including cities. The top skill overlap, you'll actually overlap with Mario Samurai 6 times. So this is one you may not want to invest in if you are heavily invested into bronze, or you can kind of take an either or approach. But just know that if you invest both in Bronze Me Racing Suit and Mario Samurai, then you're kind of losing the value that you've invested in Mario Samurai on 6 tracks. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. You may not want to quad cap these two. And then there are 3 drivers that overlap with it 5 times. Those would be 2 coin box drivers and a lucky 7 driver with Dry Bones Gold and King Bob-omb Gold and Nabbit. So, Anselm, what are your thoughts on our first exposure to the top 10, starting with this Bronze Me Racing Suit?
Yeah. It's I like
a lot of information, I know.
It's a lot of information, and these rundowns are going to get really, really long if we're going in depth on all the 30 of the top 10 items for drivers, karts, and gliders. But it's a really cool way to look at it, and we really need to emphasize on how much you need to be looking not just at our top 10 list, but also your own coverage, and decide which combinations of drivers, karts, and gliders you want to upgrade to be the most efficient with what you're covering, and avoiding, like if you end up quad capping 2 drivers and they end up having a lot of overlap, that's kind of a waste. You're wasting 5, 6, 7, 8 tracks of coverage.
Leakage, as Kevin Garrett likes to say.
Yeah,
no, I think ultimately, I think as we go through the rest of the top 10, we won't necessarily cover all the tracks, but I kind of wanted to point it out, this being the first one. But this is a great one to have the app open on your phone, and this pulled up on your computer or some other thing, whether you're pausing the video or looking at Reddit or something, and just saying, hey, I need help on this track. What should I do? And then kind of look at those and be able to move those forward. But for sake of time, we'll move forward to number 9. Charging Chuck went down 1 spot. He has 25 assumed tracks, 7 cities. When looking at his coverage, he's got a couple of these same tracks we were kind of referring to earlier. When it comes to the top skilled pairing, he pairs really well, covers 86 of the 227 tracks by investing into Shy Guy Ninja, Kangaroo Yoshi, and Saddle of You. So some good pairings there. Obviously no coin boxers on that list, but if you like Boomerang, you like Lucky 7, those are 3 good pillars to cover, I guess, about 40% of those tracks there in the game. I will say there are 3 drivers that overlap 5 times with Charging Chuck, including Meowser and Mario Samurai and Shy Guy Ninja. So, I'm sorry, Pink Shy Guy Ninja. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you out when thinking about Charging Chucks, but you'll start to kind of compare. You'll notice like this Bronze Me racing suit, he actually having 19 assumed tracks for a Me suit, a pretty good number there. It's only 6 short of Charging Chuck, just to put things in perspective. Moving to number 8, we have, I'm sorry, do you want to mention anything about Charging Chuck?
No, not really.
Pete Piranha, 14 assumed tracks, 3 cities. So he's even 5 behind the Bronze Me Racing Suit. His top pairing would be Meowser, Kangaroo Yoshi again, and Mario Saddle of You, covering 83 of the 227 tracks. For top skill overlap, this is actually surprising that he has 2 of the Me suits, including Petey Piranha Me suit, for some obvious reasons, and then the question mark block suit. So I know a lot of people have invested heavily into the question mark block suit. You might want to avoid, again, 4 is not a high number though. I do want to put that in perspective. This is actually a plus for PD. Although he only has 14 assumed tracks, to only have 4 overlap is actually not bad for PD. What's your thoughts on PD?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, we need to see what he's going to look like once he gets all of his tracks. He's still, like, relatively new. He'll probably end somewhere around 20 tracks. We'll see if he still has only 4 max overlaps with any individual driver. Having overlaps with Pink Ninja and Blockhead, I think, kind of hurts him, because those are 2 drivers which a lot of people have invested in.
That's a really good point. Moving to number 7, we have Charging Chuck Gold, moving up a whopping 5 spots here. Even though he only has 14 assumed tracks, very similar to Petey, he's crushing it right now. His top skill pairings would be with Shy Guy Ninja, Yoshi Kangaroo, and Mario Satellite View, covering 80, even with 14 assumed tracks, covering 81 of the 227 tracks. Phenomenal job there for Charging Chuck Gold. The top skill overlaps, again, just a low number there of 4, but obviously his less gold version of himself, and surprisingly Luigi Knight. This is the only overlap. This is the only slide where Luigi Knight actually is on the overlap side of this section, but then also Pink Shy Guy Ninja. So if you have very heavily invested into Shy Guy Ninja Pink, then you're only going to benefit really from having 10 tracks with Charging Chuck Gold. But again, he's a heavier hitbox. And from that perspective, he's pretty valuable. But keep that in the back of your mind. But up 5 spots, it's a huge jump for him.
Yeah, he got another exclusive. He's up to 4 exclusive coin box, where he's the only coin box driver. So that's that I can easily see him being either number 1 or close to the number 1 sometime in the future, because he's rising very quickly.
He really is. It's there's no doubt about that. But you can kind of already see here, just because he has a small number of tracks there, that's Warrior Shipyard T. That's an easy one where he has good coverage there. The Remix Dona Plains 1RT, obviously coming out this and that being a good buff for him. But that's what I like about this slide. You can see the 3DS Neo Bowser City. So hopefully you can kind of look this up on your own time. We're going to kind of breeze through things, but at least you have this resource in your hands. That's the point of it. You can pause the video, you can watch it, go to Reddit, etc. At number 6, we falling down 1 spot, is Gold Yoshi Egg. He has 21 assumed tracks, 5 cities. You can kind of see the overlap there. I will say a lot of the people on this list have this 3DS Bowser's Castle R. It's one of the craziest when it comes to top shelf tracks. Running out of room on everyone's slide here. But the top skill pairing really just made sense to kind of highlight 2. And if you used him along with Meowser and Mario Satellite View, you cover 66 of the 227 tracks. As for the top skill overlap, unfortunately, he's got the gold Mii Racing suit there. So of his 21 assumed tracks, 15 of those, it's going to make much more sense for you to use the gold Mii Racing suit. But if you don't have the gold Mii Racing suit, maybe you never got to tier 80, might be worth investing in him. And then, of course, Volendam, along with that, both of those 2 drivers use 6 times overlap there with Yoshi Kangaroo Egg. Sorry, no Kangaroo, just Yoshi Gold Egg. No, not sure why they're both yellow. Ansel, what's your thoughts on Yoshi Gold Egg?
He's still good. He's tied for the most exclusives in the game right now. He's got 7 exclusives, where he's the only coin box driver.
Yeah, if you want to look at what those are, you can check it out on the right side of the slide. And then at number 5, down 1 spot, Mario Samurai. 25 assumed tracks, 7 cities. You can see on that list, he's got a lot of tracks there. But you'll notice that there are, it seems hit or miss, right? So a lot of these, if you just looking at the right side of the screen, you can see that there are a lot of other drivers on his tracks, or very few. It's not typically he's either got 4 or more, or less than like 2. So it's kind of interesting there. He does, when it comes to the pairing, it makes sense just to focus on 2, just with Yoshi Kangaroo and Mario Satellite View, which are very common between some of these guys. 68 out of the 227 tracks. The top skill overlap here, you have Shy Guy Ninja and Meowser overlap 7 times out of those 27 tracks. And then you have the Bronze Mii Racing suit and the King Boo Mii suit 6 times. Of course, shout out to Carlos 85 who quad capped his King Boo Luigi suit there. It's just certainly not a bad investment, but just a surprising one. Ansel, what's your thoughts on our samurai friend?
Yeah, say he's an interesting one because he kind of developed in a weird way where he didn't get a lot of valuable tracks at the beginning, so people kind of wrote him off, and then he started to get much more valuable tracks like more recently, but by then he was kind of older already. I think the fact that he has so much overlap with Meowser, especially in his beginning tracks, really kind of hurt his value, or his so a lot of people haven't invested in him for that reason. But I mean, objectively, he's got a ton of tracks and a good skill, and he's got some tracks where he's there's not a lot of options, so he's objectively a good driver.
Good point there. At number 4, up 2 spots, Daisy Tie Dress. Tie-Dye has 17 assumed tracks, 5 cities. Obviously, a lot of those cities being Bangkok there. A nice list here. I would say that there's only a couple tracks where she's got 5 or more overlap drivers with. Just a handful there. But some really good tracks there for her. Top skill pairing. Kangaroo Yoshi, Shy Guy Ninja, and Mario Saddle of You, covering 80 of the 227 tracks, which isn't as high as some of the other drivers we talked about that would have 3 in there. But I think that's only because she has 17 assumed tracks. She has not necessarily hit her full potential. She's still on the rise. I will say, top skill overlap, only having 4 tracks that she's losing to these overlap is not bad. You'll notice Yoshi Kangaroo is on that list, and also a great pairing. So just take that for what it's worth. Having 4 isn't that big of a deal, but because she only has 17 tracks, that's when it starts to make a difference. So take it for what it's worth. You may or may not want to invest in Yoshi Kangaroo. Definitely check out the tracker for you there. Your opinion on tie-dye?
She still has 94 retros left to see. So, I mean, she only has 17 tracks, but she still has, a lot of buff potential. And she's got a good amount of exclusives. She's got 5 exclusives, so...
That is awesome. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that she saw Coconut Mall, Warrior Shipyard, and Vanilla Lake 5 tours in a row once she was released. So that was a big reason why. Sure. Finally, we're getting into our top 3. We got Meowser here at number 3, 26 assumed tracks, 4 cities here. Some great pairings with him would be Mario Tuxedo, surprisingly. So hopefully Frenzy fans is watching this here. You got Yoshi Kangaroo and Mario Saddle of You, those 4 drivers, 85 out of 227 tracks. If you are heavily invested into Meowser, like most of the community has already done, you may not want to invest into Mario Samurai, as we've already discussed. So it makes sense there. He and Shy Guy Ninja overlap 7 times. So that only leaves about 19 assumed tracks where you may not want to. But again, both of these are boomerang drivers, so it does bring a different element than a coin box. So just take that for what it's worth. There are 4 drivers that he overlaps 6 times with. Most notably, the Gold Me Racing Suit. One of the reasons why I've heard some people say, I don't need the Gold Me Racing Suit. I got Meowser. He overlaps 6 times. Completely understand that. I will say, Gold Me Racing Suit, with those base points, it's a different game. He beats out Meowser by... really, if you even have him, triple uncapped, he's blowing out Meowser at triple uncapped. Even if you quad capped Meowser and Gold Me Racing Suit's still going to be your best option on those tracks. That's how crazy we've gotten. We also have Kamek, Luigi Vacation, and Charging Chuck. What's your thoughts on Meowser? Does he deserve being number 3?
Yeah, good run. I mean, he was number 1 for a long time. It's time for a new king.
Yeah, he even made a little surprise jump back into the number 1 spot for 2 tours. But his time has come and gone. It's been a good year for him. Hey, it's October. We're still talking about Meowser. You can't complain about the year he's had. But we got some new kings on the block. That is our Gold Me Racing Suit number 2. He's got 23 assumed tracks, 10 cities. You'll notice there, 23 tracks is a lot for a Me suit, but 10 cities is not necessarily what you want there either. But for a total of 33 tracks for a Me suit, you're not complaining. Some of the excuse me. Some of the top 3 pairings would be Charging Chuck, Yoshi Kangaroo, and Mario Saddle of You, covering 81 out of 227 tracks. Some overlap. Gold Me Racing Suit, unfortunately, I invested in the Gold Me Racing Suit, and because of that, I never invested into Goldie Yoshi Egg, mainly because of these 6 tracks there. And then Peach Happy covers 6 tracks as well. Meowser 5 and Luigi Vacation 5 as well. What are your thoughts on Gold Me Racing Suit at number 2?
Yeah, I mean he still not getting number 1 spot, and it's just because he's now being overtaken by our new number 1 driver. I still have him at level 1. I still have not been convinced to invest in him yet. The day will come when I will, but not yet.
Okay, I'm not sure what the hesitation is, but I think it's just because it does take so much to invest in any type of driver like this. We have to be selective, and I think a lot of people went the other direction, which is to invest in our number 1 driver in the game, Question Block Me Racing Suit. Congratulations to the Question Mark Block. He has 18 assumed tracks in 5 cities, which are not numbers that you're clamoring about necessarily. but the exclusives and the fact that he's a me really help it catapult to the top. Makes sense really just to talk about the two drivers that are good to pair with it, which would be Shy Guy Ninja and the Yoshi Kangaroo. I will say it does overlap 5 times with Saddle of You and PD Piranha. It's one of the few times you see Mario Saddle of You on the overlap side of this slide. But PD Piranha makes sense. They kind of came around similar times, and so both of those overlap 5 times. What's your opinion on our new number 1 king of the top 10 algorithm list?
So, like, a lot of people are asking, like, why is this Me Racing Suit number 1 and not Gold Me Racing Suit? Gold Me has 2 coin box exclusive tracks. 2 tracks where he's the only coin box driver. Blockhead has 7, so 7 out of his 18 tracks, he's the only option for a coin boxer. And he also has like quite a bit more buff potential. We tend to forget that Blockhead came out like quite a bit later. Me Tour and Peach versus Bowser Tour were 6 tours apart. So the Peach versus Bowser Tour items still have 67 tracks left to see. So he actually still has quite some buff potential. So we could see him definitely get 3 or 4 more tracks there. Yeah, and if you look at the quality of his tracks, he just has so many good tracks. He gets new tracks, he gets ranked tracks. Yeah.
People do forget that because we got access to the both at the same time, but that's because we couldn't jump to tier 80 right away. It was we had those 10 doors to salivate over them. But yeah, I think it's a solid point. My argument for the Gold Me Racing Suit is every track it has it should be in its own exclusivity because it is a Me Racing Suit and it has those base points to put it over the edge on literally every track except for the tracks that Question Mark Block Suit is on, which aren't many. They don't overlap very often. So to me, Gold Racing Suit still is kind of number 1 in my heart. That's why I quad capped it. But certainly I think when you're looking at having 7 exclusives for a coin box. 7 out of 18, that's phenomenal. And it still has room to grow. So kudos to those rooting for the Question Mark Block Suit. So all in all, for the drivers for our top 10, here's the list we just discussed. Rounding out the top 15, you have Rosalina Volendam at 11, White Tanuki Mario 12, Luigi Vacation 13, Yoshi Kangaroo at 14, and Pink Shy Guy Ninja at 15. Anything else you want to say about these drivers?
Nope.
Let's jump into Karts then. We'll start with number 10. We got the Magma Broom. Pairs really well with Romby Rider, right? Riders.
This is the Romby Runner. Romby Rider is the super. Yeah.
Yep. The B-Dasher Mark II and the Yellow Off-Roader. The 4 of these carts together, you can cover 85 out of 227 tracks. For cart overlap, the green-yellow capsule carts covering 7 of the Magma Brooms, 21 assumed tracks. And then there are 4 carts that cover 6 of the 21 assumed tracks, including Jukebox Buggy, Vampire Flyer, Red Crawley Cart, and Candy Clown. What's your thoughts on the Magma Broom?
It's a broom.
It's a broom. So those new to the game, the broom does drive very different from everything else, and so I think that's
a nice way of saying it.
It's a very large bucket of water poured on these carts that on paper are our top 10 cart, but once you open the game, you may not want to invest in it. So those new to the game, just be buyers beware. You may not want to invest in the broom, even though on paper. Pretty good coverage there. I will say, just because it's the first cart we're talking about, because there are so many carts, you'll notice here on the right, we just show the large and above. So it's either got to be a large cart or bigger. Large cart kind of, tapping out right there around the Silver King-ish area when you think about what's large, what's not large. But that's mainly for simplicity's sake, just showing you kind of the carts that we might have a trump card over this. But that's our number 10 on our list. Number 9, Lightning Streamliner. With only 17 assumed tracks, 5 cities, it jumps up 6 spots to number 9. If you'll notice on its coverage, it's got some really, really strong coverage there. If you paired it with the Armored Rider and the Yellow Off-Roader, you would cover 62 out of 227 tracks. And just to put that in perspective, the Armor Rider plus Yellow Off-Roader together cover 48 tracks. So, that's 14 tracks of the 17 that the Lightning Streamliner would bring to that equation. So really strong pairings there. These are two Meta King Karts. So this is a phenomenal trifecta if you want to go that direction. Covering 62 with only 3 Karts is phenomenal. And there are no Karts that overlaps with 5 times there. So really, and I think there were like 10 Karts that overlap 4 times. So I just want to point that out. There is no Karts that overlaps 5 times. And all of this is a really strong showing for a Kart that is relatively new. So if this pops up for some reason in a spotlight shop in the future, or in this tour, pounce on it. Because it's a really, really strong card. I wish I had it. I can't wait for it to pop up in my spotlight. But Ansel, I'm sure you have some opinions on your Lightning McQueen.
I'm looking for it every day in my free-to-play account spotlight shop because it's the number 1 card I want to buy. It's only on its 7th tour. This tour still has 103 tracks left to see. So the fact that it's already at 17 and good quality tracks as well says a lot. So I think if this is one, if you can get a hold of it and it fits into your inventory well, it's a very safe investment right now.
I think future rundowns we might include number of tracks not seen yet. I think that'd be helpful information. But even if you look at the right side of the slide, all those tracks, Neo Bowser City R, Piranha Plant Slide T, etc. You notice there, it only has 2 carts that are large or bigger, and that's it. Or 1 or 0. So again, just kind of shows you the value of that Lightning with Streamliner. It's a really, really good up and coming. So when we talk about what things should you invest in on the Spotlight Shop, we'll talk about it during the top 10. I've been telling you the whole rundown. It's for slides like this. This is a strong one to get, and that's why. Let's talk about number 8. We have the Jukebox Buggy, 25 assumed tracks, 8 cities. Been around for almost a year. Came out in that Singapore tour right there after New Year's. But great pairing with it would be Romby Runner, B-Dasher Mark II, and then the Yellow Off-Roader. These 4 cards would cover 88 out of 227 tracks. And then when I talk about overlap, there is 1 card that it would overlap 6 times with. And hopefully it's not one you necessarily invested in. So nothing isn't overlapping 20 of its 25 tracks there. But what's your thoughts on the Jukebox Buggy?
It's just a classic coverage king. It's got a small size, but it continues to be great, just in spite of that.
Yeah, great point there. Then number 7, down 2 spots, is the Prop Kart. It has 23 assumed tracks, 4 cities. A great pairing for that would be the Armored Rider, Yellow Off-Roader, and the Gold Pumpkin Kart, covering 88 out of 227 tracks. As for its overlap, it does have 3 carts that overlaps 5 times, including the Combo Cruiser, the Candy Clown, and I forget which slugger this one is. I'll have to look at while you're giving us some information.
That's the Wild Slugger.
Wild Slugger, there you go. Tell us your opinion on the Prop Kart.
I don't have it, but it's a great card. It's been a former number 1. It's still fantastic. If you have it, if you've invested in it, it's a phenomenal card.
Yeah, I know Sammy D's been riding this one pretty high for most of the year, but strong card there. Rounding out, getting into our top. I'm sorry, wrong order there. My apologies there. I'm missing one. Let's see if I can point it out without spoiling anything. Hope I didn't miss it. Oh, this is awkward. I'm sorry, guys. You know what? Am I missing one? I'm sorry. I think I might be missing one. I apologize about that. We'll jump to number 4, and I'll try to fix this before I put it on Reddit. We have the Warrior Wagon at 4, 22 assumed tracks, 11 cities here. A great pairing for that would be the Snorkel Cheap Charger. Or Cheap Charger Snorkel, I forget what it's called, but Purple Bunny. We haven't seen a lot of that, but it's actually one that has pretty good
pairing. Has a lot of tracks, yeah.
Has a lot of tracks. And the Silver King. So those 4 carts would cover 86 out of the 227 tracks. And then for cart overlap, the Cakt R. If you've invested really heavily in the Cakt R, you might want to avoid the Warrior Wagon with some speed, because 9 out of the 22 tracks overlaps with the Cakt R. That's a lot. 9 is a lot, especially if you only have 22 assumed tracks. That means you're only getting really 13 tracks out of it. That was really obvious, glaring information I wanted to share with you guys. And then Fast Frank, quite a drop between 9 and 6, but does overlap with the Fast Frank 6 times. And so, what's your thoughts on the Warrior Wagon?
It's just still also yeah, indeed a great one. I think a lot of people it was in that samurai pipe, which a lot of people passed on. So I don't know if a lot of people got it, but it came back recently. So did you see what kind of overlap it had with the Armored Rider? Because they kind of came out at the same time.
Yeah, it was 5 or less. I can take a look at that while we're going over the next slide, though.
Okay.
In fact, I think I still have that up actually. Geez, this of course is in the way. Let's look that up. So, yeah, you know what? I'll get back to this because there's for some reason only a select number of carts on this.
Well, that's fine.
That's on the other one here. Moving to number 3, Cupid's Arrow, up 1 spot, 22 assumed tracks, 8 cities there. 2 different pairings I wanted to point out. Both of them include the yellow off-roader and the gold pumpkin cart. But both of these sets, one including the Armored Rider or the Silver King, both 2 strong carts there. In addition to the gold pumpkin cart and the yellow off-roader, cover 85 of the 227 tracks. Want to point that both out there. Great pairings for the Cupid Arrow. No carts overlap with it 5 times, which is a positive there. But there were 3 carts that overlap 4 times. So Cupid's Arrow, one of the things I like about it is the fact that there aren't a lot of overlap. You know, this is between this Daikon Rocket or the Gray Cat Cruiser, even the Purple Bunny, not everyone invested in as heavily as you and I did. But to not have 22 of the tracks overlap with any specific cart makes it a really, really good, strong pairing with just about any cart in the game. So really a very unique cart to pair with things. What's your thoughts on the Cupid's Arrow?
It's a great card. It's been carrying my free-to-play account all year. I made it level 6 and triple capped it quite a long time ago, and I use it. It's in ranked a lot. It seems to be always in ranked.
It's had a really good year with ranked, that is for sure. Moving to number 2 on our list, we have the Armored Rider. 22 assumed tracks, only 2 cities, which is really great for that. Some great pairings would be the Romby Runner, the Gold Pumpkin Cart, and the Yellow Off-Roader. These 4 carts would cover 89 of the 227 tracks, which is phenomenal. As for the cart overlap, only the Dragonfly overlaps with it 7 times. A couple other carts, not necessarily on your meta list, but ones that are really strong for me, overlap with it 6 times, including the the Green Lightning, the Black Turbo Birdo, the Pumpkin Cart, the Sakura Hop Rod, and the Vampire Flyer. I'm very heavily invested in the Sakura Hop Rod and Vampire Flyer, thus not investing as heavily in the Armored Rider. So I only have that at level 3 or whatever it was that was paywalled. But it's a really, really strong cart. I wish I had it at a high level just because it looks awesome. The color scheme and everything. It's a huge hitbox.
It does.
And it's got some really good coverage there. So what's your thoughts on Armored Rider?
I have it and I've been using it and it's been great for me.
Awesome. And then finally, our number 1 cart in the game. Really, it's probably the card of the year, to be honest with you.
I would say so, yeah.
27 assumed tracks, only 4 cities. The fact that it only has 4 cities, I don't know how that happened. It's been an absolute baller cart. Pairs really well with the Romby Runner, the Gold Pumpkin Cart, and the Armored Rider. The 4 of these carts together can cover 89 out of the 227 tracks. Some ones to be aware of. It does overlap with the Tanuki cart and the Choco Macaroon 7 times, which is a lot. It's a lot of overlap there. So you're still getting 20 tracks though out of it. If you were like SamBD invested in or yourself invested in the Tanuki cart, you're still getting 20 tracks there. That's because that's how powerful the Yellow Off-Roader is with that. As those who had the Combo Cruiser were very familiar with it, it does overlap 6 times with the Yellow Off-Roader the Brown Off-Roader as well. Maybe the Red Off-Roader will get on this list at one point in time too, just because it had started so much overlap. It started out with 2. So what's your thoughts on the Yellow Off-Roader? Anything?
Yellow Off-Roader is one of those carts where it was obvious from the start it was going to be an amazing cart, and I didn't invest in it. A big part of the reason why I didn't invest in it is because I was going in on this Tanuki cart, and I also invested hard in the Tiger Bruiser for that one ACR, and Tiger Bruiser ended up having 5 overlaps with it. So between Tanuki cart and I'm not sure if any of those overlap with each other, but that's somewhere like 10 to 12 tracks I'd miss out on Yellow Off-Roader because of those 2 other cards. So for me, it never made sense. But it's a regret because it's been so useful and ranked a lot and continuing to get new tracks. Yeah, it's for me. I would say even though I don't haven't invested in it, it's card of the year.
Yeah, it's every once in a while we get these dominant things like the Black Rate Sale or like this Yellow Off-Roader where it's so obvious. It's definitely worth investing in. So here are all the carts we've discussed so far. Oh, you know what? The Shielded Speedster did not. I'm not sure what happened to that slide. Must have got deleted. But that is our number 5 cart, and the Silver King at number 6. I'll make sure to fix those or find those before I post to Reddit. I'm not sure what happened. Let's move to gliders. So
can we say something really quick about the Shielded Speedster? Because I think the Silver King, everyone kind of knows about it. It's been around for a while. The Shielded Speedster is really new, right? This is only its 3rd tour and it's already a top 10. So I just want to explain why it's number 5 already, and it went up so much. It has 13 non-city tracks. 10 of those 13 tracks are like new tracks. Wario Shipyard R, RMX Donut Plains 1T, RMX Bowser's Castle 1T, 2 Piranha Plant Slides, Luigi Raceway, 2 Daisy Cruisers, 2 Bowser's Castle 3s. It's like basically only got new and highly valuable tracks. So the quantity of its tracks is nothing yet, but it's only on its 3rd tour. But the quality of its tracks is just through the roof. It's incredible. So it's kind of one that I think went under the radar a little bit, but the start is incredibly strong.
Yeah, although for somehow the slide did not make this presentation, I want to reiterate what you just said, which is if you have to invest in a new cart, this is a great one to ride out for sure.
Absolutely.
Really strong one there. And then just to go full circle, I looked up to see what type of overlap the Warrior Wagon had with the Armored Rider. And it looks like it doesn't look like they maybe two overlaps. I don't see it.
Oh, that's not so bad.
It's not too bad. I was actually surprised because it wasn't.
Yeah, they came out on the same tour. Three overlaps now that I look at it. And one of them is a level 8 unlock for Warrior Wagon.
There you go.
So yeah, that's not much at all.
So not much at all. So there you go. Hopefully this information helps you out. Again, this is the first time doing it this way, so please let us know if it helped out or if you prefer some other information. As we talked about the gliders, much more of an eye chart when it comes to the coverage, just because we don't have any way to filter it based on the meta. So the Secure Origami Glider, number 10, fell 3 spots. 21 assumed tracks, 7 cities there. Some great pairings with it would be this 8-bit Super Mushroom and the Dragon Wings. The 3 of those gliders together would cover 69 out of the 227 tracks. And then there was only one glider that made sense here. I think, just the Candlelight Flight covers 7 times. I think the next closest was like 4. So a lot of overlap between the Secure Origami Glider and the Candlelight Flight. 7 out of 21. That's substantial. But what's your thoughts on the Secure Origami Glider?
It's good, but again, like I have Candlelight Flight, so I wouldn't be getting into it.
Hard to justify investing in that. And then we got the 8-bit Bullet Bill, 28 assumed tracks, 4 cities for a total of 32 tracks. That's a lot for the 8-bit Bullet Bill. Glider pairing great with the Golden Wings, great with the 8-bit Super Mushroom. Both of those are gliders you've invested pretty heavily in. And to Lev, 75 out of the 227 tracks, just with 3 gliders. That's really, really solid. But as you guys were well aware of, has a lot of overlap with the Black Rate Sale, 10 in total, more than anything you've seen on any of these slides thus far. And then the Wicked Wings at 8 overlaps, and the Vampire Wings 7 overlaps. What's your thoughts on 8-bit Bill?
It's great. I mean, yeah, great glider. But again, it came out at a time where a lot of people were going hard on the Black Rate Sale, so I can understand if you didn't invest in it. Yeah,
it had a late resurgence too. It was like really, even though it's been around for a while, it kind of had like after the Black Great Sale started to kind of wane a little bit. The 8-bit Bullet Bill started seeing some Mushroom Gorge over here, and then some like Sky Garden over here. It just seemed to get some like really late buffs after we thought it was
Random
already
newer
done.
tracks, and the Black Gray Sale hasn't been getting those indeed, yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Piranha Plant Balloons down 2 spots to number 8 on our list. 18 assumed tracks, 3 cities here. Some great pairings would be the Super 8-Bit Super Mushroom, the Golden Wings, and the 8-Bit Bullet Bill, covering 88 out of the 227 tracks. Some glider overlap. It does have 4 gliders that overlap 5 times. 5 is not a lot, but when you only have 18 tracks, it's worth taking note of. You get the 8-Bit Fire Flower, which has been a really, really strong glider for most of its career, along with the 8-Bit 1-Up Mushroom, the other mushroom, and that is also 8-Bit. That one's a little alarming because they both the Piranha Plant Balloons and the 1-Up Mushroom came out around the same-ish time, so maybe that's why they have so much of that overlap. But then also the Secret Scroll and the, as we talked about, the green Cat Parafoil, which has seen some really good action here lately. Anything you want to add, Antilev?
Yeah, Brian Plant Tour was 7 tours ago, and those items still have 103 tracks to see. So if you're considering investing in it, I just got it recently from that one special pipe on my free-to-play account, and I immediately invested in it to level 4 and double capped, which is for me like, I don't normally invest that quickly in items when I get them free-to-play account, but it's such a good glider for me there that, and time-wise, it's still got, it's kind of right in the middle of its ranked window right now, so it's a good time to invest.
Yeah, what's interesting is at level 4, I've used it 2 or 3 times in the last couple of tours, just because it was on a city track that I didn't have good coverage on, and then this tour as well. So yeah, it's a really interesting glider. We'll see how it goes up. And then of course your 8-Bit 1-Up Mushroom, 19 assumed tracks, 3 cities. Those are both great numbers to see out of a relatively new glider. Some great pairings. There's 2 I wanted to mention. Both of them include the Golden Wings. One being the 8-Bit Super Mushroom and the Golden Wings, and the other one being the 8-Bit Bullet Bill and the Golden Wings. Both of those would cover the 3 of those. The 3 of those gliders, either 3, would cover 68 out of the 227 tracks. So really great options there. Wanted to kind of present both of them, especially since it's the same number. But when you're looking at glider overlap, we already talked about the Piranha Plant Balloons. We also have the Pretzel Glider and the Mario Mustache Secret Scroll, and then the Blooper Hanafuda on this list, surprisingly. But that's 5 overlaps. It's not a large number, but again,
but those are fine things to have overlaps with. You're probably not investing in those,
None of those overlaps have hit the meta yet, except for maybe the Piranha Plant Balloons.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to number 6, the record setter, down 1 spot to number 6, falling outside of our top 5. Some great pairings with that would be the 8-Bit Bullet Bill, Golden Wings, and the 8-Bit Super Mushroom, covering 94 of the 227 tracks. So those who have invested heavily and selected the record setter as their pillar, I think of Tyler right off the top of my head, you might want to invest in the 8-Bit Bullet Bill, Golden Wings, and the 8-Bit Super Mushroom. And then some glider overlap, the Wonderful Wings 8 times. That's a lot. That's a lot of overlap there. But again, you have 26 tracks. That's a high number. So maybe those aren't impacting you that much. And then the Galaxy Glider 7 times for the record setter. Anna, anything you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, the main reason I haven't invested in this one is because of Wonderful Wings. It just has too much overlap for me.
Yeah, that's a lot. The Green Cat Parafoil catapulting inside of our top 5, knocking the record setter out of that top 5, up 8 spots total. It's got 19 assumed tracks, so still up and coming. 6 cities here. 2 pairings I want to mention, both include the 8-Bit Super Mushroom. One is with the 8-Bit Bullet Bill, and the other one with the Great Black Rate Sale. So if you invested heavily into the Black Rate Sale last year, and you've made a couple investments in the 8-Bit Super Mushroom, this is an up-and-coming glider, maybe worth investing in. It's really, really new. It's kind of gaudy coloring, but it's got some pretty good coverage. Even when you look at the glider overlap, not meta gliders either. So you have this, I think, vanilla and chocolate glider here. You have the gold eggshell. Neither of those 2 have really hit the meta at any point. And then the Piranha Plant balloons we talked about at number 8 on our list. I think the green Cat Parafoil being maybe a little hotter right now. We'll see what happens for anything you want to mention.
The vanilla chocolate balloons are kind of up and coming. I think they might crack the top 10 somewhere in the next couple of tours. But it's still too new to tell. Green Cat Parafoil is from the Cat Tour, or is it from the? It's from the Cat Tour, right? And they still have 83 tracks left to see. So even though like 19 tracks isn't a huge amount for a top 5 glider, it's still got a lot of buff potential left.
Right. If you're knocking the record setter out of the top 5, I'm paying attention. With the 8-bit Fireflower, the most tracks of any assumed tracks of any glider, 29 assumed tracks, 11 cities, so a total of 40 tracks. How crazy is that? You can see there just the list of tracks and all the other coverage. It's absolutely insane. Still a solid glider. Down one spot though. If you pair that with the Candlelight Flight, which you have really heavily invested in, Bright Balloons, and the record setter, you can cover 93 of the 227 tracks, which I think is interesting. The downside though, there is some overlap with the 8-bit Bullet Bill and the Golden Wings, 2 gliders people invested really heavily in. However, it only covers 6, it overlaps 6 of those tracks. So when you're talking about 29 friggin' tracks, losing 6 of those is nothing you're worried about. You still have 23 that you're crushing it with. So this is a phenomenal glider, still worth investing in, just for, even if you're late to the game, you're a newer driver, newer player, worth investing in for sure. Anything you want to mention about that, Anselov?
No, I mean it's an older item, and it's I think mostly an ACR item right now. But it's so many tracks. It just level it up, and it just takes care of so many problems. You know.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. As for number 3 on our list, we have the Golden Wings going up one spot. 28 assumed tracks, 11 cities there. So just one short there of the 8-bit Fireflower. So good pairings with the Golden Wings. A lot of people invest in the Golden Wings. So listen up here. You might want to invest with the 8-bit Bullet Bill, the 8-bit Super Mushroom, and either the Galaxy Glider or the Ship's Wheel. Either one of those combos will get you 95 out of 227. That's almost close to half of the tracks in the game you can cover with these 4 gliders, either set. And then when it talks about the overlap, we kind of talked about this a little bit with the 8-bit Fireflower, but that overlaps 6 times. Again, not a lot when you're talking about 28, 29 tracks. And then the gold home field glider and the black cat parafo. Anything you want to say about our Golden Wings?
Great glider, yeah. No, nothing really more to say though.
Earth-shattering analysis from Anselov. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. Number 2 on our list, your Candlelight Flight. Down one spot though. 26 assumed tracks, 11 cities. Some great pairings with it would be the 8-bit Fireflower, the Bright Balloons, and the record setter. The 4 of these gliders together would cover 93 of the 227 tracks. So I will say one of my takeaways from doing these slides and looking at this data, Bright Balloons, something worth looking into. Might help you out with some coverage. It's an old one that never really hit our meta, but got some strong complementary coverage for sure.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing about using a Turtle Dudes tool, or just like analyzing overlap in general. You will find items which aren't objectively great items on their own, but they fill the gaps around meta items really, really well. I think Strawberry Donut has historically been one like that. Yep. The B-Dasher Mark II is kind of a cart like that. Mario Satellaview has been a driver like that, for example. So yeah, I definitely recommend using his tool. It really will lead you to some interesting finds.
Yeah, because I quad capped my tropical truck, I plugged that in there into the Turtle Dudes app and started playing around with some things. Then started adding, well, what if I quad capped this over here? Then what would give me some good coverage?
Yeah. And
kind of started playing around with some stuff. It's a really good tool. I highly recommend it. As for the glider overlap with the Candlelight Flight, I'm trying to remember. This is the Sakura origami glider, right? And then the Flyby book. Both of those covering 7 tracks. Not that those are, I mean, that's a good thing for the Candlelight Flight. Neither one of those have hit any type of meta. You would have expected, if you would have saw, Golden Wings on here, you would have seen, 8-bit Fireflower, you would have seen something else that would have scared you away. But the Candlelight Flight is just such a strong glider right now. And it's now coming on its 1-year anniversary, because I think it came out during Halloween last year. So it's coming up on it, and look at that, it's still number 2 on our list. It was a late bloomer, that's for sure. And then finally, our number 1 glider in the game, Wonderful Wings. Although it has 26 assumed tracks and only 6 cities, the tracks it has is phenomenal. It's been in ranked. It's been and really this last buff put it over the edge. I can't say that enough. I think a lot of people have been investing in it because it looks beautiful and was in ranked a lot. I think Frenzy fans had pointed out. I think 2 or 3 months ago that it was the most heavily used glider in ranked for like the first I think 4 or 5 months it was out. So it was already doing really well in a lot of people's accounts. But here it is, another ranked brand new track buff, and finally it puts it over the edge. It was a top 5 glider for basically from like tour 5 on, but now it's finally hits number 1 thanks to this nice big buff here. Some great pairings with that. You could go a couple different directions. One, you could pair it with the 8-Bit Fire Flower, Dry Bowser Umbrella, and the 8-Bit Super Mushroom. All of them have been pretty heavily invested in by you, Antilev. Those 4 gliders, or 8-Bit Fire Flowers, Bright Balloons again, and Candlelight Flight. Either one of those combos, the 4 of those, we cover you 92 of 227 tracks. So phenomenal combos there. I want to show you both. They're both a little bit more different from each other. And then it's from Overlap. Wonderful Wings, we kind of talked about this with the record setter. That's 8 overlaps. That's a lot. And then the Aurora Balloons, which was in our top 10. It was a really strong glider that some people invested in too. But the Wonderful Wings kind of was able to overtake it and had the more sustainable value. And then Ship's Wheel, 7 times there for the Wonderful Wings. Anything else you want to say about our Wonderful Wings here?
No, I mean it's nice to be kind of vindicated. It's a glider I've been kind of promoting and recommending for people like most of the year. It's nice, and I invested in it both accounts early, so it's nice that it's up there. I will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of those glider pairings, I have all of them except the Bright Balloons at level 8 and triple capped in my accounts. Like, I've been using those optimizing tools a lot. So it's good to see that, like, what I'm trying to do in my account has been kind of in line with the efficiency, what we're finding out now.
Yeah, that's a great point. I will say one thing that some people were looking at was the Wonderful Wings and the Golden Wings and having some early overlap, but I will say they've kind of gone separate directions. They only overlap 5 times. So just put that in the back of your mind. Out of 26 assumed tracks, 25 of those are overlapping with the Golden Wings. I think that was the one thing that deterred me away from the Wonderful Wings early on. But later on, I invested in it. It's at 7,595 for me, even despite the Golden Wings being 8,700. So Wonderful Wings, certainly a good investment, even if you have the Golden Wings. So there you go. Those are our top 10 gliders. I know this might have been a little clunky going through for the very first time, going into this much detail. Definitely highly recommend looking at these slides when you're looking at investments. Hopefully you can reference these. I know this is a long episode, going to break out all the rundown records. But I do think that having all this access to this information is better than not having access to it. It could be a long video, I get it. But take a look at the slides, make sure to download them, have them ready at hand, and you can hopefully have more information before you invest, in addition to the trackers, than you would have had prior. So hopefully this helps. Let us know your comments, your suggestions otherwise. And then to round out the top 15, you have the Wicked Topaz at 11, Vanilla and Chocolate Balloons at 12, which again, a good up-and-coming one there, especially since it's pretty new. If it comes out next tour for the spotlight. Number 13, the 8-Bit Super Mushroom. The number 14, the Black Cat Parafoil. And then the 15, the Nabbit Oil Paper Umbrella, has hung on to this like 14, 15 spot for so long. I believe it's pretty crazy. All right, let's get back to what you guys are pretty used to now when it talks about the top movers and shakers. I will say the Mario King did go up 38 spots. However, it went from 160... Because it came out with so many cities, guys. It started at one before this tour. It was at 160. How crazy is that? Now it's at 122. So it still has a huge chunk to cake up. Even that 38 change still maybe moved the needle about 20%. So still got a long way to go. Mario Racing up 37 spots to 78. The Hammer Bro up to 55. The Dry Bowser Me Racing Suit went up 29 to 63. Now here's something that's interesting. I don't know how much time we have to talk about this, but I don't know why, but the Dry Bowser Me Racing Suit looked really enticing at that 70 Ruby cost in the Shoplight, the Me Shoplight thing. I thought I had it at level 2 just because of ranked. But if you don't have it, if you didn't get it in ranked, it's worth putting 70 rubies into. And then, again, I think in general the Mii suits look more attractive at 100 rubies than the regular drivers at 150. So I don't know. Keep your eye on that Dry Bowser Mii racing suit. Although it's not a super plus skill, the Dry Bowser shell is not a bad one to have. At least if you think about battle mode and other things that are going on, might be a fun one to get. The Guma Mii racing suit up 27 spots to 76. Penguin Toadette up 24 spots to 38. You also had the Cheap Mii racing suit up 15 spots to 39. And then Luigi Knight is now in our top 20 at number 20. It'll be interesting to see how he goes up, as he, not a lot of people were able to invest in him. And then for Karts, I kind of breeze through this, but the Cact B went up 45 spots to number 20. That's a huge jump. I think you talked about that a little bit earlier.
I got 4 buffs, so yeah, I mean,
that's huge.
Not a surprise, yeah.
I mean, you think about it, it was at 65 and moved up 45 spots. That's insane. White Fast Frank did go up 37 spots to 59. I think about a good friend, Pepper Rabbit. Rabbish Rider went up 30 spots to 139. Not so interesting. Goo Goo Black went up 29 spots to 37. Almost cut its lead in half. And then the Tuk Tuk Kart went up 23 spots to 35. As for the gliders, Silver Luigi's Mustache cut its lead in half. It was 69 before. It went up 38 spots to 31. Tube Corsage to 43. Luigi's Hat Balloon to 57. The Vanilla, here's what you were referring to earlier. Vanilla and Choco Balloons went from 37 up 25 spots to number 12. That's a huge jump to break the 15. We'll see where it continues to grow. And then Black Star Shoot went up 23 spots to 26. I think a lot of people invested heavily in that. That's a really, and then the Fire Mantic Ladder went up 15 spots to number 44. So, Anslev, what are your thoughts on the top movers and shakers?
Yeah, I'm really curious how Luigi Knight's gonna do, because he's gone up. So like his tour items seem like they're really good so far. Yeah, Cact B, you're kind of regretting not getting it now, but hopefully it'll come back since we don't really have like paywall stuff anymore. A couple that didn't quite make the list: the Shielded Speedster, like we said before, 15 spots, but up to number 5. Also, the Blue-Green Capsule Cart rose 18 spots up to number 12. That was a really big jump at the top of the table. Other than that, yeah, not a whole lot to talk about.
Good. Let's talk about the ranked unlocks. As you know, for week 1, because we're so late into the tour. Again, I appreciate everyone's patience. Hopefully, seeing that information was helpful. But you probably already know this. The Warrior Shipyard was the only thing that unlocks, and that has the Pink Shy Guy at level 6. Level 8. The Green Yellow Capsule Cart, level 6. And then the Silver Luigi's Mustache and the Wicked Topaz unlock at level 8. Certainly that's good to know for week 1. But as we are 2 days away from the Mario Cup, Choco Mountain RT has a lot of unlocks. I won't get into all of them, but I will say this Luigi's Chef, for what it's worth, level 6, you're probably not going to be able to... Level 6, you probably won't be able to take it there. The Yellow Off-Roader level 3, that one's a strong one, probably the one most people are going to be using just because it hit that meta. Wild Pink was a formerly really strong glider. Kart 2 has a level 8 unlock, though. That's going to be probably hard to get. Lava Rocks at level 3, Yukata Ribbon at level 3, Black Cat Parafoil level 6, and then the Golden Wing Tip at level 6. And then for the Remix Stone of Plains, there's only one item that can unlock. That's the Green Speedster at level 8. If you won that in ranked and somehow took it to level 8, then that's an option for you. Otherwise, you're probably just going to look at the Choco Mountain RT. So, we think about multiple use. I'll kind of skim through some of this. Luigi's Chef used 3 times. So, that's going to be the most usable one there for the drivers. I will say Charging Chuck is used twice. Gold Charging Chuck as well. Mario Chef used twice, we already alluded to at the very beginning, I think 3 hours ago, in the very beginning of the rundown. And then Pink Shy Guy Ninja, because of that level 8 unlocked, you can use twice. As for carts, you have 3 carts that you can use 3 times, including the Pink Capsule Cart, the Sweet Ride, and the Gold Bullet Blaster. Thanks to the Gold Bullet Blaster's level 6 unlock. The Cact B you can use twice. This Flaming Speedster, if you need to get that commemorative item, it is used twice as well, which is helpful to know. Everything else isn't really in the meta. I will say this Red Off-Roader, which a lot of people really liked or invested in pretty heavily, can be used twice. And then for gliders, Your 8-bit 1-up mushroom used twice. 8-bit bullet bill as well twice. A lot of gliders used twice. None more than that though, including the black star shoot. A lot of people took that up. Let's see. I'll skim through this. Tropical balloons twice. This vanilla and chocolate balloons twice. The brand new beautiful white waves origami glider twice. And then this silver Luigi's mustache we've talked about a little bit. Anything you want to add about ranked as you're going through ranked and include doing battle modes?
Usually there's more items that are like 3 times in ranked, and sometimes you even get like a 4-time ranked, but this one is like a bit more difficult to cover just by investing in like a few items.
Do you think it has anything to do with battle mode?
I think it's because we have 4 new tracks in ranked, and Nintendo goes out of their way to make sure that items aren't covering multiple ranked tracks too much.
That's a good call. That's a good call. And then our last of 56 slides. All Cup ranking MVPs. We, of course, have Mario Chef used 14 times. That's a lot. Tanuki Rosalina, 13. Tanuki Mario, 12. Luigi Chef, 11. Peach, Baby Peach Cherub, 10. Nothing else really going to be using. Nabbit, maybe 9. DK SNES, 9 as well. Charging Chuck, 8. That's really about it that you want to really look at for drivers. As for carts, this Purple Bunny, man. Purple Bunny you're probably using a lot. 12 times in total. It's phenomenal for the Purple Bunny. You and I were big fans of that back in the day. Tuki Kart used 12 times. Yellow Off-Roader 11 times. I think most people in the community will be using all of those 11 times as arguably the top cart of the year. Flaming Speedster 11. Gold Sweet Ride 11. Gold Green Speedster 11, Dragonfly 10, Black Turbo Birdo 9, Choco Macaroon, and others as well. Cactar, I will say, because people had that at a pretty high level. 8 times for the Cactar. Remember when Cactar and Yellow Off-Road were like neck and neck for like maybe 2 months, and then all of a sudden that Cactar fell off hard.
Yep.
Not sure why. As for the gliders, Chocolate Donut used 13 times. That's a lot, especially for an older glider like that. But because we have so much Choco Mountain, Choco Island, that makes a lot of sense. That has a lot of that coverage. Super Mario Kart glider used 12 times. Bright Balloons 11. I keep seeing these bright balloons, man. I'm gonna have to look at that coverage on some of my trackers. Seriously, I'm dead serious. I'm gonna have to look at that.
Calico it has a lot of older tracks, but I mean, it might fill some gaps for you. Who knows?
Who knows, man? I'm just surprised to see it in so many overlap there. Calico Parafoil 11, chocolate banana crepe. Again, a lot of chocolate stuff, a lot of food items. It's obviously kind of cooking toward 2.0, so it has a lot of cooking type of stuff there. But Edlev, we have now finished the longest episode in the rundown history. What are your thoughts, man?
Far.
There's so much to talk about, and I think literally everyone was like on the edge of their seat, waiting for the rundown to come out. So I hope we've met all expectations. Let us know if there's some information that you'd like for us to cover more in the future, or if this was too much information. We love the feedback, so please let us know in the comments what your thoughts are. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. But Ansel, what's your thoughts again, kind of in wrapping up, about the Battle Tour?
So, just specifically for this last slide, I think what's really interesting is in tours past, you would almost always see the new items topping these ACR MVPs. But because we lost the spotlight boost this tour, that's not the case anymore. Mario Chef is a spotlight, but he's an older driver, has a lot more tracks, but the new driver is not top. The new carts are not top. You've got other older items which are, so going forward, it's not going to be so simple as, hey, just pull the pipe for the new items, invest in them heavily, and you should be good for ACR. No, you're going to have to do some more planning and be more careful with your investments to have good all-around coverage if you plan to go for ACR in the future.
That's a really good point. And there's been some tours where we've seen 15, 16, 17 tracks covered by these drivers. And even with the additional 3 new cups, you still see this number relatively low in comparison. So, yeah, that's a really good point. I wonder if this will help some of the more established players, because a newer player can't just come in and just get these double tracks with all these new items and new drivers, etc. But again, we'll see how things play out. In general, my thought process on the brand new tracks is that it helps the whales, because having that loadout is is able to save a lot of time. So for a newer player, you have this better loadout times 9 when you think about 3 tracks times 3 cups. Yeah, I think this is actually going to help me play all cup ranking and I don't know, be a little continue being lazy and still do really well in all cup ranking. So it's just I think it's going to make it's going to take more effort to be able to put more time into it. But there you go. That is our episode of the rundown. I think battle mode. Just in summary, we got battle mode, quad caps, a lot going on. Hopefully this was some good information. Antelev, anything you want to add before you say goodbye to your fans?
No, thanks, and good luck. Let's see how it goes going forward. I'm really curious how things are gonna develop. It's an exciting chapter in Mario Kart Tour.
And if you haven't subscribed to Antelev's channel, he does some live streaming. It's a lot of fun to have. Basically him hanging out like VC style, like voice chat style, and has a lot of fun. So feel free to subscribe to Antelev and join in on the fun. But if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to Draco655. Subscribe to Matt Aldridge. These are some of our up-and-coming YouTube content creators that we're rooting for. But thanks again for tuning in for nearly 2.5 hours. It's been an absolute blast going over all this data and information with you. Please leave us a comment. Let us know what you liked or didn't like so we know how to be able to tweak this going forward. Hopefully we can continue putting out this content. And then also, if you'd like to have, a little bit more rubies each tour, let me know if you'd be interested in doing some of this content creation with us. But thanks again for your time today. And until next time, may the friends be, luck be with you. See you guys.